Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the championship race for Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. It is the GridRival MNR Championship live from iRacing's virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. So happy you could be joining us tonight. I'm Blake McCandless alongside my friends in the broadcast booth, Kenneth Bueno and Jacob Hitz. And guys, it has been, golly, this year has flown by already. It's hard to believe we are already back at Homestead for yet another title day to have somebody potentially claim another MNR championship. It's just flown by before our very eyes, guys.
It really has. Since the drop of the green flag at Talladega Superspeedway, even to the start of the playoffs, it's felt like things have gone by so quickly, Blake, and with you guys in the broadcast booth, it's been so much fun. But what we've seen over the past couple of weeks and even over the season is the competition level rise, and rise exponentially it has over the past couple of weeks with the championship 4 that we have this evening at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We're going to be in for a whale of a show. Homestead-Miami Speedway, a very competitive track for hungry drivers looking for what could be their first, maybe second MNR title if you're Adam Cabot. For everyone else, their first. It is going to be a very, very interesting night in South Florida.
That it is, and Jacob, Kenneth kind of touched on it right there for a brief moment, that Homestead is such a fitting track to crown a champion. The XFINITY car is a fitting car to do that. But a unique challenge tonight, 200 laps. It is a long one for these drivers, and it's going to be a marathon. They're going to have to earn it if you're one of these championship 4.
It's a long race, and the race is actually longer than it was back in the day when the XFINITY cars would run here for the championship finale, back where it was at Homestead, where it probably should be. Nonetheless, it's a long race for these drivers, and they're only going to have 5 sets of tires on the pit lane, so they really have to mind their P's and Q's out on the racetrack. It's going to be tough, though, because even though it's under the lights, the track is hot, the track is slick, there's not a lot of grip, and where you would expect the cars to be running up toward that outside wall, it's an ice slick up there, and you're going to see guys probably down bottom feeding on the racetrack instead of racing on the high side the way we usually see them.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Again, the track conditions can definitely change throughout the race, and we have a long time to do it, 200 laps of rubber to be put down, so we will see where these drivers find speed around this Homestead-Miami Speedway tonight. Let's welcome in the 4th member of our broadcast crew tonight, Eric Estep. And Eric, we have 4 great drivers in Adam Cabot, Chase Cabery, Corey Heim, and Leighton Sabile, who had their chance to win a championship this season. It's been fun to have you for the playoffs, but I'm sure, like everybody, you're ready to get going tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast the past 5 weeks, but week 6 here, 6th race of the playoffs, that's where it all gets decided. And you mentioned it, 4 heavy hitters tonight. 3 of those playoff drivers, Sabile, Heim, and Cabery, have managed to win a race at some point in these playoffs. Meanwhile, Adam Cabot, he's done things the old-fashioned way. I don't think he's finished worse than 10th so far in these playoffs. He's been cool, calm, and consistent. He's a former Monday Night Racing champion, so he knows how to live up to the hype and high-pressure situations. But you guys talked about 200 laps tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Up there close to that wall, progressive banking on the hairy edge of control. It's truly going to be a slugfest. The most talented driver is going to have the best shot at winning this race tonight.
No doubt about it. These XFINITY cars are cars that you have to manhandle, and it's a very fitting setting here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway for these drivers to show that they have earned the right to call themselves a Monday Night Racing champion here in Season 6. Well, why don't we go ahead and catch up with 4 of our championship drivers. We'll talk to each and every one of them before we get going tonight. First one on the docket is Corey Heim. And Corey, congratulations on making it here to the championship 4. What's the thought? What's the feeling going into tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good about everything. Obviously, really grateful to kind of be in this position and compete for the championship as, first things first. And just really big thank you to Elite Performance Industries and Hog Tamers and everyone who helped me out to put me in this position. But just ready to have some fun tonight. Homestead with the XFINITY car. Really can't ask for a better combination for a championship style race, and really looking forward to that.
Corey, I do have to ask you one question. Of course, after last week, you will be serving a drive-through penalty on lap number 2. So you have a lot to overcome tonight. What's the approach with that in mind to this 200-lap race?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as there's one caution, I feel like I'm back in it. It's a really, really long race. You know, as long as I can get a caution and no incidents through the pass through and whatnot, it's not really a big deal. But really interesting call on their part to do that. But trying to take the dog out of the fight, and it's all good.
And certainly so. Well, I know you've been practicing a little bit in preparation for this race. What are you kind of feeling in practice? Where do you think is going to be the lane or the way to go tonight?
Yeah, setup's really good. Feels like it drives great. It wears the tires really evenly, which I feel like puts it a lot in the driver's control, which is all good news to me. You know, I feel like the lanes are going to move around a lot. I saw some people were really fast on the wall in 1 and 2. The setup gets over the bumps really good, so really no place that you can't go. So it'll be interesting. I think we'll move around a lot.
All right, Corey, we won't keep you any longer. We'll let you get your last couple laps into practice. Good luck tonight, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to you as a Season 6 champion after it's all said and done.
All right, thank you.
That is Corey Heim. He is your first competitor tonight, looking to try to cement himself as a Season 6 champion here in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. But Kenneth Bueno, you've caught up with somebody who has been here before, who has won here before. That is Adam Cabot.
All experience behind the wheel of the 17, Adam Cabot entering his third MNR Championship 4 appearance here for the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway. And Adam, I have to ask you first, though, you've had a little bit of time since the drop of the checkered flag Chicagoland, where you got the news you were going to enter the Championship 4 for Season 6, and just a couple of moments before we dropped the green here from Homestead-Miami. What has your thought process been like, and what have you been experiencing over that time?
You know, I was super confident that I was going to make it here all season long. So to just make it to the end of Chicago and actually get here was definitely a bit of a relief. But you know, the hard part's just starting now. This is a really competitive Championship 4 field that we have, probably the most competitive ever. And I don't think any of us really know exactly what to expect tonight with how this race is going to play out, and you know exactly what's going to be the best strategy when it comes to saving tires and what lines to run, and you know, obviously when to pit and all of that. I think there's still a lot up in the air, but you know, I'm definitely ready. I'm calm, no nerves. Like you said, I've been here before. I've already, you know, I don't feel like I have anything to prove necessarily. I've already, you know, I've already won a championship and shown what I can do. But at the same time, to be the first 2-time Monday Night Racing champion would be very special. So hoping to do that tonight. It's a really long race, the longest I think we've ever had in this league. So between that and 100% fuel, it's going to be just you know, trying not to get worked up too early, just trying to pace myself, and you know, if something I'm doing isn't exactly right, if I see the other guys are doing something that maybe I should be, there's enough time in this race, or there at least should be, to adapt. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of wide open as to who can take this, but just kind of antsy to get out on track and get it started.
I love the saying, I've been here before, and that is true in comparison to the other 3 Championship 4 drivers you're going up against tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. You've ran more seasons of MNR than anybody else in this championship. You have more championships than anybody in this MNR Championship 4, and you also made more appearances. So how does that experience help you in this longer race and this championship setting tonight?
Well, like you said, I've been here before and I've lost, and I've been here before and I've won. So I feel like kind of experienced everything you can in the championship 4. Obviously, last time was a much different feeling and experience and ambiance, actually being in Charlotte in person up on stage. So this is a very, very different feeling compared to that. But you know, the season before that, I was also in the championship 4 at Miami, and in that race didn't end up working out for me. Yeah, I feel like I've kind of experienced it all, but at the same time, these are fresh competitors. I've been racing these guys all season, but never in a championship duel. And everyone always steps it up for this championship race. You know, you see it in real life. It always seems like it's a championship 4, running 1, 2, 3, 4 at some point during the race. And I'd be surprised if we don't see the same thing tonight. So yeah, just antsy to get out there, but yeah, hopefully that past experience will be something that'll benefit me.
And the past experience includes a fantastic battle with David Schildhouse in the last laps of the Auto Club race back in season 4. Remember that? And back on how elated you were when you crossed the checkered flag in celebration of that championship. For this second time, if you're able to do it here from Homestead-Miami, how much will that mean to you? Not only, of course, like you said, being the only driver to have 2 MNR championships in series history, but also just getting a second one overall.
Yeah, no, it'll mean a ton. It'll mean a lot. The competition's only gotten tougher in this league. Not just this championship 4, but we've definitely, the drivers who've been around for a while have gotten better. And we've also just added a lot of new talent to the league. So, as this competition increases, I kind of have to step up my game to keep up and, to show that I could win another championship with the increased competition. That would be amazing. So, hopefully I'll be talking to you guys post-race, and it'll be in victory lane.
A lot of excitement heading into tonight's Championship 4 race. Adam, on behalf of our entire broadcast team, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. Congratulations on making the Championship 4 for Season 6. Best of luck out there on track.
Thanks, Kenneth.
So that is Season 4 champion Adam Cabot trying to get his second MNR title. He's got a lot of work to do, but obviously, like we talked about, experience has been key for the driver of the 17. We'll talk to a driver, though, that is making his first MNR Championship 4 appearance. Jacob Hitz, you're caught up with the driver of the 25 in Leighton Sabile.
And last week's winner, a 2-time winner this season. And believe it or not, 3 of our 4 playoff drivers have won 2 races this year. Leighton, no stranger to victory lane either. And both of those wins coming with your back up against the wall, winning the last race to get into the playoffs at Talladega in the next gens, and then last week at Chicagoland when everything was on the line, going to victory lane in the trucks. Are you the closer of MNR? Is that what we've learned from this season?
Yeah, I don't know about necessarily being the closer. I like to say that we take full advantage of all the opportunities that come our way here on this 25 team. Really, the Hog Tamers team in general with Corey and I feel like we have shown some speed throughout the season. Unfortunately, in my camp, we really didn't get off to that great of a start. Of course, we missed the playoff, or we didn't miss the playoffs. We missed the first race of the season. We went home, so didn't have enough owners points in the last season that we ran here in MNR, and really had to scratch and claw our way to get up here. So I'm proud of all the teamwork that we've had to get us to this point. And like you said, we've been in some tough situations, but I would say overall it's been a really good season.
You talk about teamwork, and you're one of the unique drivers, along with Corey Heim, the fact that you're going to be racing a teammate for the championship tonight. Are you going to race Corey any differently tonight if you two are battling it out for a possible championship?
100%. 100%. Corey and I, we started this Hog Tamers team about a year ago now, and really we've grown to become really good friends on and off the racetrack. He's a really good driver, and if I can't win it, I want to make sure that he does. He's been a really good teammate and helper to me over the course of the season, and certainly if there's any chance for me to cut him any breaks, I will be sure to do that. But I can't say enough about everyone here that made it to the Final Four. I mean, obviously, Chase and Adam both were really strong throughout the entire season. So it's going to be a tough fought race. But I feel like I kind of don't really have all that much pressure on me.
Let's talk about tonight's race. Obviously, a week ago was another mile-and-a-half racetrack. A little bit different surface age, different time of day, different weather, and also a different car between last week and tonight. Is there anything that you really carried over from last week into tonight's race that you think could help you?
I mean, that's kind of hard to say. I would say as far as the track wear and the tire wear goes, they're pretty similar. But like you said, different cars, different weather situations. There's a lot of different variables that have changed from one week to another. But regardless, I think what's going to help win this race is going to be that strategy. You're going to see guys running all over the place, whether it be on the bottom or hugging that seam or even up riding around the fence. So I think really at the end of the day, it's it's going to be one of those deals where you want to first and foremost keep all the fenders on it. Make sure that you're not going up there and getting any extra damage for no reason, because that really, really, really hurts these cars. So just keeping yourself up in that position is going to be key. I don't know if there's necessarily anything that can transfer over, but certainly it's going to come down to who really wants this championship the most. And I think we've proven that we will do whatever it takes to do just that.
You used some strategy in last week's race. It helped that we went caution-free as well. But getting off strategy with the remaining drivers that were left fighting for the championship, and that got you into the right place at the right time. Do you expect this race to go green? Are you anticipating this race to go green? And if it does or doesn't, how will that affect your strategy for tonight?
Well, I think there's a bunch of different ways to play this out, and thankfully we're going to have our race engineer and strategist and Mon and Raman, who is one of the crew chiefs over at Venturini Motorsports. He's been a huge help to our program over there, Hog Tamers, and I'm gonna rely on him when it comes to all the data and the trends of the race. Honestly, man, like I said earlier, I feel like I don't really have all that much pressure on me. I really don't think I was on many people's playoffs brackets to even get to this point. So, I think it opens the chance for a bunch of different strategy options, but with it being as long as a race as it is, I wouldn't expect it to go green the whole way. I certainly hope it doesn't, because Corey needs a caution pretty early on in order to even have a fighting chance. So, I don't know. I really don't know, but I know that we're going to go out there and we're going to give it our best.
Leighton Sabile, two-time winner this season. If he finds himself with his back against the wall, he could find himself in victory lane and the MNR Season 6 champion. Leighton, best of luck tonight, and we'll see you at the end of this deal.
Thank you, guys. Before I go, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my supporters at Toughco Flooring. They've done a lot for me, whether it's sponsoring me on the actual racetrack or just even here in iRacing. I know that they've had a relationship with the Monday Night Racing series as well in the past. So hopefully we can have a good showing tonight with our Toughco Flooring number 25 Chevrolet, and just be there at the end. So thank you guys for what you do, and I'm excited for this race.
One last driver for us to meet. Eric E. steps with him. Chase Cabery, hunting for his first title.
Chase Cabery won the opening race in these playoffs way back at Richmond, but since then has been really super duper consistent to make it here to the championship four. So Chase, first off, congratulations. And tonight's a long race, 200 laps. So do you think kind of consistency will be key tonight, or are you going to have to lay it out all on the line to get the win and the championship?
Yeah, I don't know. This track is so hard on tires. I think you just gotta run your own race, take care of your stuff the entire race, and try to be there at the end. I mean, I'd hope to qualify up front. That's kind of been my goal. This race is to get up front, be able to set my own pace, run my own race, and let the cookies crumble how they're gonna go.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it's a challenging race tonight. Is track position going to be key? I mean, what kind of unique challenges do you expect to face out there at a Homestead tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think the top is definitely faster in 1 and 2 to start a run. I would say for probably 10 laps or so, the top's really good. Maybe not as soon as or as the race is, but once the race starts to get some wear on it and the starts to go to the night transition, I think the top will be good for a little bit, but I think you kill your tires too much going up there. So I think we just gotta stick to the bottom to conserve your tires, and then if we do have a 10-lap shootout, I think I've put enough laps in to where I feel confident of getting up there and putting the elbows up and getting after it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about picking the right time to turn it loose. Well, you're contending for your first Monday Night Racing championship tonight. So hypothetically speaking, if you do cross the line first, what would winning a Monday Night Racing championship mean to you, Chase?
It'd be cool. I'm pretty excited to run this race. I think I put in enough time this week, and this was a new league for me, so I got in here and was having some fun with it, and it's pretty cool to be in the Final Four. So hopefully we're able to get a win. That'd be awesome. I'd love to be able to win this race. And like I said, over time and time again, is we're going to do everything we can to do it. But if not, I hope the best man does win it.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like you've been one of the fastest in practice so far. So I know fans watching at home might have a safe pick on their hands right here. But Chase, thank you so much for joining us here on the pre-race show, and good luck tonight.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, just to touch on those practice times, I ran a 49. You're not running that anymore. That was when I first got in. The server was super fast, and it slowed down. So those times are a little bit swayed for sure.
It was a PR lap, you know. It was good.
Yeah. There's gonna be some guys that are gonna be really fast here in qualifying, and really fast in the race that you literally can't go that fast anymore. So it was just only because I got in here early.
Okay, well, I appreciate you clearing that up right here, but I still think you're going to have a lot of fans that are picking you to win the championship and perhaps the race tonight. But Chase, good luck tonight. Thanks for joining the pre-race show.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome stuff. I believe, Blake, we might have opening ceremonies coming up before too long.
I think you are right about that, Eric. And again, if you are interested in watching watching the watch party, I guess is probably how we should term it. You can go to twitch.tv/podium2. That is twitch.tv/podium2. We'll have Daryl Waltrip as a part of the watch party for the race, so that you can kind of take things in. Double coverage here for the Monday Night Racing Pro Series Championship presented by Interstate Batteries. But up next, we will throw it trackside for pre-race ceremonies and the playing of our national anthem sung by Winston, the NASCAR Wizard.
Hello, America. This one's for you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we have as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Saint Star Spangled Banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you, America.
On the other side of this break, we will get things ready and squared off for qualifying and the crowning of a champion in the GridRival MNR Season 6 Championship. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is an Interstate battery. More pros trust this than any other out there. Yeah, more pros. More. Even more pros. Keep going. Moss. Look, we're gonna run out of time before we run out of pros who like Interstate. I mean, we'll run out of time before we even run out of left-handed pros who knit. These pros are everywhere, which means so is this battery. Right around the corner, up the street, everywhere. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
frontstretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checkered flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit frontstretch.com.
Visit our website at toughgoflooring.com.
Get the edge on your competition with P8 Performance Gummies. Formulated specifically for gamers and the esports industry, we packed our gummies with all the good stuff, including ingredients that are clinically proven to help tired eyes, improve reaction times, and help suppress computer vision syndrome. Take your focus and endurance to the next level and try P8 Gummies today. Now available at Procelerate.com. Plus, if you're mad about gaming, we're looking to partner with influencers just like you. Drop us a line at support at Procelerate.com to see if you qualify to try our gummies for free. It's officially game on with all new P8 gummies.
Back with you here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where we are set to crown a champion tonight in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Why don't we go ahead and take a look here as drivers are rolling around. About 2 minutes left before qualifying starts, and we get to see the starting grid for tonight's race. Let's go ahead and look at our picks for tonight, which at least recently, guys, has been, let's see who Blake gives the kiss of death for tonight. But we have 4 different picks amongst 4 different championship contenders. Kenneth, I'll give you first dibs to defend yours.
Well, I'm just going to make a disclaimer. Just because I interviewed Adam Cabot a couple of minutes ago is not why I picked him for tonight's race. I'm picking him for many reasons. One, he's a very consistent driver, I think, at easiest. And then at hardest is just the details of him being in his 3rd MNR Championship 4 appearance, him being the most experienced out of anybody in this Championship 4 up until this point. And also a very interesting stat. Last time he won the championship back in Season 4 at Auto Club, in that entire season, he had won 1 race. Everybody else in the Championship 4 had won 2. And yet Adam Cabot was able to overcome all that and win the title. So I think it's going to be a repeat for the 17. He's proven to be very good with these discipline-heavy Xfinity Series cars. He's been very talented at tracks like Homestead-Miami Speedway in the Sim, so I have no doubt 17 will become the first ever 2-time MNR champion after the checkered flag.
So Adam Cabot with Kenneth looks to become the first multi-time champion in Monday Night Racing. Jacob, talked with him a little bit earlier. Chase Cabery, your pick.
Yeah, and I thought about this one, and the first reason I went with Cabery is because, Blake, you picked Corey Heim, and Kenneth, you picked Adam Cabot before I got to make my pick. Second of all, I picked Chase Cabery and not somebody that you guys had picked, because I've got the Fantasy Championship pretty much locked up after last week in Chicagoland. I think I've got a double-digit lead over the battle for second between Kenneth and Eric, and you know, Cabery's been fast. He surprised us this season early on with how fast he was. His win at Twin Ring Motegi, I think, was the biggest surprise. because that was just, 2 races in to the season, and he had already won himself in. Even though his 2 race wins have come at the smaller racetracks, Twin Ring, and then winning in the playoffs at Richmond, I still like Cabery's shot. Corey Heim, we talked about, he's got the penalty. He's going to be starting with the drive-through penalty. Not saying Cabot can't get it done, but I think Chase Cabery's just going to be able to outperform car number 17. Chase Cabery's going to win the championship tonight.
All right, there's Jacob Hitz. Eric, I know Leighton Sabile has, I don't want to say he's a surprise championship 4 contender, but the way he's had to do it, he's put his back up against the wall numerous times, and yet here he is with a chance, and you say, a championship tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. He has gotten to this championship race, I would say, the more unconventional way. Before his win last weekend, or last Monday night at Chicagoland, I think he had 1 top 10 in these playoffs. But tonight, all that consistency gets thrown out the window. You got to perform in a high-pressure, high-stakes environment, and Sabile proved he could do it last week on his, I don't want to say similar, but on another 1.5-mile racetrack. Homestead's its own beast, its own animal, and again, as we continue to harp on, this is a longer race, but he's done it once. I think he can do it again. Everyone's counting Leighton Sabile out. I want to be the one guy in his corner cheering him on. So Leighton Sabile, he gets my championship pick, and hopefully, maybe, possibly, if everything goes well, I can leapfrog Kenneth for second in our broadcast picks.
All right, Eric with Leighton. I'm going to go with Corey Heim simply because this is his first full season of Monday Night Racing, has been competitive since he joined us last year. And you know what? I think when he talked about earlier, all he needs is one caution to negate or somewhat overcome that lap 2 penalty that he is going to have to serve. So I don't say that's much of a hindrance. We've seen him drive through the field a number of times this season. We know he has the speed. We know he has the capability. And I think Corey Heim gets it done. Now, again, that has been the absolute kiss of death for anybody that I have picked this season. I am by far, in a way beneath everybody when it comes to our season standings. Jacob, I think you pretty much got that locked up, and Eric and Kenneth are going to have a nice little bout for second here, but way behind, and again, it's been a rough year, guys.
Yeah, you have yet to win a week, Blake. All 3 of us, Kenneth, Eric, and I, all 3 of us have at least won a week. You've come close a couple of times. I believe Texas was the closest when it was only the 2 of us that scored points because all of our picks were bad that week. But yeah, it's not been great for Blake McCandless. Hey, maybe tonight's the night that things turn around. The problem is you're 5 points behind Eric, so Leighton's going to have to not finish this race, I would think, in order for you to not finish at the caboose of the field here.
I'm not taking any chances, but yeah, it's been a rough year. If we'd had a picks playoffs, you guys just said I hadn't won a single one, so I wouldn't have even made a playoffs amongst ourselves. As we take a look at our Grid Rival featured matchups for tonight, the most in-depth fantasy motorsports manager game on the planet is full of engaging features that bring a new level of engagement to your favorite racing series. And Grid Rival is proud to support Monday Night Racing and, of course, this championship event tonight. You can check out the Grid Rival app in store or on the App Store or in Google Play if you have an Android. But of course, a big announcement with NASCAR this week. Now available, NASCAR Grid Rival Fantasy Matchups, a season-long contest with $100,000 in prizes set for today. Or announced earlier this week. You can download on the App Store, Google Play to get ready for that. And boy, that should be a lot of fun. A season-long fantasy contest taking place. I remember reading it on Twitter a couple days ago. That should be fun, and heck, who knows? Maybe that'll be a topic on Dirty Mo Doe, the new podcast that Dirty Mo Media released with Steve Letarte. It should be fun. As you take a look on the left-hand side of your screen, you saw the odds flash before your eyes there, and guys, I think we're just about all said and done. You can see at the bottom of your screen right now everything that is scrolling through for next season as we take a look at Homestead-Miami tonight.
Yeah, Homestead-Miami Speedway, the perfect setting in many eyes, including mine, for a championship event. We've held season championships for MNR here at this track before, and whenever I tell a story about how this track began, I say it all started with a hurricane. Hurricane Andrew, pretty much the reason why this track exists in the first place. Ralph Sanchez, the county, Miami-Dade, and Homestead wanted to rehabilitate the economy after the devastating effects of that hurricane. So they built this track, and obviously it's gone through a couple iterations, a couple of configurations, but this is the magic combo that we have seen this track take ever since, and it's been the NASCAR Championship location from 2002, 2019. It's a gorgeous sunset track. There's a lot of great weather here in South Florida. It's a perfect stage for a championship.
That it is. It is going to be a wonderful setting. And, well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, qualifying is done, and we have ourselves quite an interesting starting row. Let's go ahead and take a look at the BST Shock starting grid for the Monday Night Racing Season 6 Championship. Corey Heim, quick time, which is going to be interesting because he's going to have to pit on lap 2, but nevertheless, he has the #1 pit stall and the quickest time by 1/1000th of a second over Anthony Alfredo. Those two drivers will make up your front row. Leighton Sabile, another championship competitor, makes up the 3rd spot along with another championship competitor in Adam Cabot. So 3 of your top 4 have a chance at a title tonight. Inside row number 3 goes to David Schildhaus with our final championship contender in Chase Cabery starting 6th. Preston Pardis will roll off in the 7th position. 8th will be DJ Cummings. And then Reed Wilson and James Bickford. Kenneth will round out your top 10.
We'll start row number 6 with Grit Esports' Nick Olson in the 24-11th, Bailey Turner on the outside in P12. Rookie driver Connor Berry looking to close out his rookie campaign from 13th. Gary Sexton will be alongside him, bringing the 13th car to 14th in row number 7. Max Kennan rolls off in the top 15. Ronnie Osmer in the 55 alongside him in P16. 17th will go to Ryan Vargas in the 26th. And 18th in row number 9 goes to Alex LeBay, the Canadian, in the 36th. Colin Fern, former Championship 4 driver, not in the championship this evening, but a lot of great experience at Homestead-Miami. He starts from 19th. Will Rogers alongside him to round out Jacob Hitz, your top 20.
Starting in 21st is your Season 5 champion. Actually, it's a row of champions. Sora, the Season 5 champ. Robbie Lyons, the winner of the championship back in Season number 3. Josh Slate starts 23rd. Joey Padgett, he was championship contender. He starts 24th. Jordan Buster and Brandon Brown make up row 13. Row number 14 is made up of Steve Affont and Devin Henry. Rounding out the top 30, league owners Ford Martin and Matt Stolman.
31st, Case Collenbach. 32nd is Brett Baldeck. Dakota Curtis will start in the 33rd position with Michael Massey in 34th. Justin Malello goes off 35th. 36th was George Belfans Jr. The last driver to take time tonight was Mark Rabillis in 37th. You have Stephen Ellis and Raja Caruth, although I don't believe Caruth, he connected but is not out there right now. So think just 38 cars will contest this championship tonight for 200 laps around the Homestead-Miami Speedway. You can see right there our race analysis, 200 laps. We have a full fuel cell, which is a little bit different than what we typically have with these shorter races, but with the announced extended length of this race to 200 laps, they figured why not give them the full 18.7 gallons that you can fill up in these NASCAR Xfinity cars. 4 sets of tires. We will be talking about that, Jacob, I'm sure at some point tonight. 4 sets. That's all you got.
Well, they got 5. Well, talk about it at the no. So the tire limit set in sim is set to 6. So they'll have 5 behind pit wall. They're starting on set number 6. So that's I don't know if that was a mistake in the simulator or not, but nonetheless, they're going to have 5 sets in the pits. So we'll see how these drivers adjust with that, if cautions affect whether or not they take tires or don't take tires. But I would think if we stay green much of the night, you're going to see them take tires every time they hit the pit lane.
It's going to be very important to have some at the end because we have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered should it be necessary. Although we went entirely green last time out in our championship race, the Season 6 championship ends tonight. Who is going to win it? Green flag is out, and we are underway here at Homestead-Miami. coming around 3 and 4, you're going to see right now the 51 of Corey Heim is going to pull off of the racetrack. He's going to have to get down to pit road speed, and he didn't?
No, black flag, car 51.
Wow.
Now, unless that's the drive-through, I didn't see, did they give him okay, they did give him a black flag in sim. So I think he's okay, maybe? I got a little ahead of myself thinking, oh, he's just pitting, knowing that he's gotten the flag. At the cone, he's doing 51, so he might be okay, but it was close.
The black flag is served, so that was given in sim, so no additional speeding penalty, because I was worried about that for a moment myself, that maybe he sped a little bit coming down to pit road, but nevertheless, the Elite Performance Industries Toyota gets back onto the racetrack. He does not lose a lap and rides in the 38th position, so out of contention right now, but he has 198 laps to try to make it up. Meanwhile, up front here, you have a battle for the race lead. Anthony Alfredo looking down low. Meanwhile, Leighton Sabile, who's climbed a couple of spots since the drop of the green flag, looking to take control of both the race lead and the championship.
This is going to help Sabile's confidence a bit, being able to hold off Anthony Alfredo for a while, and Sabile not afraid to go for that third lane in turn 1. The opening laps of this race, you may see that as the sun falls here from South Florida. A couple of drivers trying to work that very bottom, very middle, or in some cases like Sabile, go right up against that outside wall. Sabile in some clean air, but most importantly, Blake, a bit of a buffer between himself and the next championship 4 driver in line in Chase Cabery. So good signs for now from Sabile. Just don't want to use the equipment too early in this race.
And speaking of using the equipment, he is running where most of the field is not already early. He is running that outside line, and of course with 200 laps, a lot of time for these drivers to perhaps scrape up against the wall. We know how much speed there is right against the outside retaining wall here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. There are no fast repairs available for these drivers. That was a mid-season rule change that had that has shifted the landscape here, I guess you could say, Jacob, about how aggressive you can be. And I think early on, a big reason why you may not see everybody up there by the wall, you don't want a little bit of damage this early on in the race.
And I think that helped contribute to the caution-free race that we had at Chicagoland last week. Now, whether or not that's because drivers are out there driving scared, that they don't want to wreck their cars right away, because they know they don't have the insurance policy in the back pocket, that I'm not sure. I know that was a theory that was pointed out earlier on in the playoffs when we were at one of the faster tracks. But nonetheless, it's risky business up there. Plus, there's no rubber up on that outside of the racetrack. So you going up there, that means that, well, if you find something bad, you're going to be the first one to know about it, pretty much, especially if you're the race leader. It's as time goes on and as it gets rubbered in, that dynamic track takes over a little bit, then I think it'll be okay. But right now, Anthony Alfredo looking to the inside for the lead.
You can see Chase Cabery deep in conversation. A couple of laughs there for the driver that runs in the 4th position and is the 2nd championship competitor right now. He's behind David Schildhouse, who will not be competing for yet another Monday Night Racing Championship this season. And Alfredo looking awfully strong right there. This is where you're going to see a lot of drivers run, and seems to be the popular line in iRacing is right above that bottom seam. If you can get those left side tires just above it, or even sometimes right on it, that car will wrap around the bottom pretty well. And Anthony Alfredo showing that to a T, but cannot quite get Sabile at the line.
There's a lot of rotation on the left side of the car you can get on that seam, and Alfredo being loyal to it over the first 9 laps. Sabile, though, doing a great job at defending. That's the one thing that you can do here at Homestead-Miami. If you run that 3rd lane, you can play some pretty heavy defense on the driver you're going up against, and this, you're seeing it right now. Sabile able to hold the outside at the entrance of turn 3, while Alfredo has to do a little more work. While that happens, David Schildhouse, who's running single file in 3rd, he can catch up to these two, and that's the same deal for both Chase Cabery and Nick Olsen. So as long as these two stay side by side, whether Alfredo has the lead or not, I think 3rd on back. Would love to see this continue on over the next couple of laps into this run.
We'll see if they're able to do it. Now, Eric, I want to bring you in because typically what we've seen in these championship races, we were at Homestead-Miami Speedway in the trucks a season ago. It was Presley Sora that won that championship. But one thing we have seen in these championship races now, this is the first time it hasn't been at a live event in a while, but we always seem to have these long green flag runs in these types of races. So at least coming into Homestead-Miami tonight, you have to start thinking long run. You have to start thinking strategy when trying to approach this race.
Absolutely. I think talking to all of our championship drivers before the race, the general consensus seemed to be that you're going to have to save some equipment. That's what has me a little worried about Leighton Sabile right now, as he is running much closer to that wall than most other drivers in the top 5 or top 10. He's holding the lead, but I guess for how long? But yeah, it is a long race. This is, as we've mentioned, one of the longest races Monday Night Racing has ever run. And so with no fast repairs either and an extra set of tires, I think don't push it too hard too soon. I think right now a lot of these championship guys kind of know what they're doing. They know how to save their stuff. And I think that's what you're seeing for the most part up front right now.
Yep, they are the best in the business for a reason. Still, this battle up front continues. Sabile still holding strong. You just have to wonder how long it is. I know somebody that loves to run this car at this racetrack, that high lane, especially when you get right by the wall here, Kenneth. It's not just running above that top seam. iRacing has gotten to the point where in the sim now, you have what drivers describe as the air bubble. If you get right next to that wall, that patch of air almost pushes you away from the wall and adds a little bit of grip. Now, iRacing has gotten to where that's simulated at this track, and perhaps none better in this car is when it works. Sabile not quite up there right now, and you can see a little bit of a slide right there for Sabile, still trying to hang on. But that, I think, is where, if you're going to run the high side, where your bread is going to be buttered, is going to be right against the outside wall. But again, it's very early on to be doing that.
And it's a double-edged sword. It turns back to the point you guys make about hitting the outside wall. You want to get close, yeah, you can make up a lot of speed and be very fast, but are you willing to be that close to the wall where if you make that mistake, you're going to get sucked into it, you're going to get some right side damage, and you don't have a fast repair to lean on. So you really have to be careful, and that's why you're seeing so many drivers, only a couple going up there, but nobody really being right up against that outside safer barrier like, let's say, Kyle Larson a couple of months ago in October at this very track. But it is very fast, and it could be the key to a lot of great offensive pushes, a lot of great defensive stances on drivers, and it looks like in terms of the defense, Sabile has no more. His tires have worn out to the point where he's dropped back on Anthony Alfredo, and here comes David Schildhaus on a challenge for second.
Sabile going to go right back to the top of the racetrack, but I think those that were kind of riding in line and saving those last handful of laps, that battle with Anthony Alfredo may have run the good out of those Goodyear Eagles. You can see Alfredo clear by a couple of car lengths over your top two. Sabile still in the lead of the championship fight, but perhaps not for long, as Chase Cabery has been waiting in the wings the last couple of laps, and that is going to be the battle for the title in short order. Sabile in third, Chase Cabery, and then you have Nick Olson, another non-playoff driver up here battling with these guys.
Well, and for Cabery, you have to keep in mind that he's pretty much been on the bottom this whole time. Sabile really loose coming off turn number 4. And we've seen it a couple of times in the past. I think back to Texas last season, guys, in these cars, where coming off of every corner, Leighton Sabile about wrecked it. I don't know if that's where he's at right now as far as his tires. It certainly looks like that. He is high, wide, handsome, and loose up on the top. Cabery gets by. He takes over the championship lead. Olson to the inside as well. He wants position number 4, and it looks like he'll take it away.
So Sabile going to have it. It looks like Olson is going to clear on Sabile, whose car is hanging out like a hair on a biscuit right now, as Sabile falls 2 spots that lap. And he may lose third in the championship battle as well. Here comes Adam Cabot down to the bottom, who is right kind of even with Chase Cabery these opening 18 laps, just kind of riding in line, saving his stuff. And now he's going to try to go by Sabile.
That's what Cabot pointed out in that pre-race interview, was just trying to be consistent, really being conservative in this first stage, because there are so many laps on tap. When it's less laps, sure, you can afford to push it a little harder over the course of a run. But here, when you have 200 laps, and especially when you've gone these first 18 green, your biggest priority is taking care of the car. It's not being the outright fastest on the racetrack. I'm sure Cabot is not worried about Chase Cabery being in the championship lead, because he knows he's at least still within striking distance and he's running consistently. He's saving his stuff for now. The fall only continues for Leighton Sabile, who pushed a little hard on the run. DJ Cummings, who had also been running the outside wall, he now switches over. He goes to the inside, and following suit, Charlotte Phoenix's own James Bickford had a bit of experience last season in the championship four. Not in it this time around, but Bickford running well inside the top 10.
That he is. You have Colin Fern and Presley Sora, who are just behind them, who are running up in the top 10, and pretty much may not be current playoff drivers, but just playoff drivers in general who have been eliminated over the course of the last couple of rounds, litter the top 10. However, the fastest car on the racetrack right now is the driver who's running in 37th right now, Corey Heim. Corey Heim is making hay, and you know, you never want to lose and give up 20 seconds to the rest of the field. Jacob, that's essentially what he gave up pitting, but the one thing he gained out of that, there's nobody around him, no traffic. He has all the clean air in the world, and at least right now, he is putting it to good use.
Yeah, he's trying his best right now, and he is actually gaining a little bit of time on the rest of the field. The problem is, though, is that we've stayed green a long time. So he's still on the lead lap, yeah, but he's at risk at this point in time of still being behind the pack. But if Leighton Sabile stays out there in the 5 laps, he may get that caution he's looking for. Conveniently enough, it'd be from his teammate.
Now, I do have to wonder, though, do you kind of attack this race backwards if you're Corey Heim? Do you try some strategy? If everybody's going to pit at lap 33 or lap 50, I'm sure there's some marker where drivers have decided, how many pit stops are we going to take? When are we going to come in? I'm wondering if you kind of know that you have to try something different. You have to try a different approach if this race were to go green. You can see Sabile, though, still reeling right now, has fallen back to 9th and is roughly half a second off of what your race leaders are running. So whatever Sabile did running up on the top side, I think these other drivers kind of starting to take note that that may not be the way you want to approach it.
Definitely may not. I think you can see both sides of the card here, because Leighton Sabile has been running the top. The same has been the case for DJ Cummings in the 10, but Cummings has had better tire wear. He's been able to maintain himself well inside this top 6, 7 or so, and Leighton Sabile has been on a free fall. So you look at two sides of it, how aggressive you on the outside line instead of just running it all by yourself. You look at a battle here further back to the field. This is a couple of drivers, including Joey Padgett in the 83, was eliminated just 1 week ago. The 83, the rookie driver, going underneath Gary Sexton for 19th. And I know we're going to be talking about the championship battle all race long, guys, but you can't ignore these guys here looking for a great end to season number 6. A lot of momentum heading into season 7. And remember, these guys are also fighting for the win as well, and a lot of great storylines you can pull from here too.
Certainly so. We've seen upsets before. Raja Karuth a couple seasons ago was not a part of the championship fight, went on to win the race despite Adam Cabot winning. And a little bit of contact there with the outside wall, some smoke off of turn 4. That's something we've kind of seen a lot more of in recent iRacing updates, that sometimes when drivers scrape the wall, it's not just a physical effect. You can see it visually too. You can see a little bit of smoke there billowing out of some race cars that are making contact with the outside retaining wall here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. There you see DJ Cummings trying to make up some ground right now. And Cummings, Jacob, has had a relatively strong playoff push. Obviously got eliminated a little bit earlier on, but Cummings has been somebody that has shown quite a bit of consistency this postseason. And even Eric was mentioning it earlier when we were talking about picks. Eric likes consistency, and that's one thing that DJ Cummings has really put on full display here this postseason.
There's no doubt about it. He's turned it on here down the stretch, and he was somebody in the early days of MNR back in Season 2, Season 3 that was consistently fast. He kind of fell off in Seasons 4 and 5, but he's gotten back into his groove here. He's had a couple of good runs, and I think that those good runs that he's had this season have really helped him string these together as far as the season's concerned. In a great battle with James Bickford. And if you want to talk about rough seasons, you talk about that 29. Had a chance to win the championship a season ago, and now here he is fighting inside the top 10. It has not been James Bickford's year by any stretch of the imagination. Was pretty well outside the playoff picture in that last race at Talladega, and has just been trying to rebound since the mid part of the season. And he's put together a pretty solid run right now.
That he is. You look on board of Justin Malillo, somebody else that it seems to be same song, different dance, that has barely missed out on the postseason each of the last number of years. He was just shy of making it this year, but of course looking to end Season 6 here on a high note and try to build some momentum for the next time we come out here in Season 7, which with the schedule being released here in Season 7, we are going to take quite a bit of a break. October is the next time that we'll be back out for the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. So a decent break that nearly spans the entire NASCAR season before we head back out for 18 races to crown a championship in Season 7. So after here, it's a little bit of time off for MNR, Kenneth.
A little bit of time. I know that I'm not going to be able to unfold my beach chair while having MNR alongside. I'm just pulling up some notes to update it for the next week, but I think this break's certainly worth it. I know a lot of drivers have hectic schedules. NASCAR season is going to start in just about a week time, or even less than that, a couple of days. So everyone's going to be very busy. I think it's definitely nice to have a little bit of time off, and that's going to make the return a lot more sweeter, I think, guys. When we return on October 2nd, we're going to be so excited, so amped up. I think even more so than having just maybe 2 months or so of a break and then coming immediately back to action. It's going to be awesome to have everybody return for season number 7. And with the schedule we have lined up, a lot of old favorites returning, a lot of new entrants into the combo list heading into the season. And of course, the competition is going to be so high. And I think that's what we're looking forward to the most.
You can see right here Leighton Sabile, and you know, we don't often get the shot from behind the driver where you can really see the amount of work that Leighton is doing. You can see a lot of counter steer there as he's trying to turn to the right almost as much as he's turning to the left, getting into the corner. That car is loose. And I wonder here, Jacob, what he's thinking strategy-wise, because he's obviously seen that running the high side early has not paid off for him. He's roughly 6.5 seconds behind your race leaders. Got to start thinking about approach and when you want to start to maybe pit here as we get to about lap 33 or so.
Well, and he's setting the slowest lap times out of everybody inside the top 20 as well, so he is just plummeting through this field, and he's got to find a way to figure it out with these tires. And I think just, you're right, pushing it a little too hard, using that outside line combined is what's causing Leighton Sabile to be turning right to go left around the racetrack. And that thing, he stays out 10 more laps and he could put that thing in the wall.
I wouldn't be shocked, as you can see kind of a typical Homestead-Miami problem, which is the sun setting in turn 1. Now, these drivers are lucky that the grandstands here have not been updated like its real-life counterpart with some of the stands being taken out in turn 1. The blindness that you have as a driver is amplified even now more so than it used to be. You kind of have a little bit of the grandstands and some luxury suites up there that kind of block the sun as it's setting here on the front straightaway, but in real life a lot of those grandstands have been removed, and so you kind of get blinded by the box, and then you have pretty much nothing beneath it, so the sun's even worse now. But it's still replicated here in iRacing when and where the sun sets. It's kind of past us at this point, or is going to continue to set, so it should not be much of an issue. But you think about the NASCAR Cup Series, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, a little bit of an issue with seeing on pit road. Not going to be much of an issue the rest of the night for these drivers, but certainly something that iRacing replicates to a T.
And something that can get a little aggravating as a driver. You're constantly looking at the sun when you're entering turn 1. And you're right, I've seen the lack of grandstands in turn 1 at Homestead-Miami in real life. It makes the glare so much worse when you only have the Champions Club there in turn 1. And that's the only thing blocking your vision from the sunlight, at least heading into the corner. But I mean, that is going to be something that does wear off away. Of course, the sun's going to dip. We're going to have nighttime setting here at Homestead, but it is a little factor that plays into the mindset of a driver and just kind of wears them out a little bit mentally. You watch a nice battle inside the top 6 or so, back to the top 8. We've seen this quartet, most importantly, create some great battles on the track. Colin Fern, James Bickford, DJ Cummings, and Nick Olsen. They haven't been able to get away from each other at all for these positions over the past couple of laps. At one point, they were 3 wide in the middle of the corner, and Bickford not giving up quite yet. He's going to look to the inside of Fern's Chevrolet Camaro, possibly going to look under Cummings, and he's going to wrap the very bottom. Might not get the move out of turn 4, but just great battling between these non-playoff drivers so far.
A good battle with non-playoff drivers. How about a good battle for the lead in the championship? Adam Cabot and Chase Cabery side by side into turns 1 and 2, and Cabery gave Cabot the top, and Cabot is going to drive right by. So Adam Cabot clear of Chase Cabery, and the number 17 looking to repeat, or at least win his second MNR championship, I guess is the proper way that you should say it. Passes Chase Cabery and will look to drive away and catch top 2, and David Schildhouse and Alfredo have built up about a 1.5 seconds over these two.
Well, Cabot's made 3 straight now, championship 4, right? Did it in season 4, won the championship. Did it last year in season 5, or last season rather in season 5, and here he is in season 6 doing the same thing again. And man, he's just tough to beat. And you know where the championship finale is for next season? It's Homestead. He could go for 3 championships by this time next year, and that is unbelievable just how fast he is. For everybody in this league watching, if you think somebody's got a target on their back, it's going to be car number 17 all year next year. You got to beat him. You got to knock him out in order to have a shot for a championship, just because he's going to come in here and whoop you.
Yes, he is, and it kind of has a quiet demeanor about him when you think about how he approaches. Isn't always caught up in some of the drama and everything that seems to somehow come around when we run some of these MNR races. You don't see him getting in a lot of spats with other drivers, just kind of goes about his business in a calm way, and when we get to the end of these deals, he is always a factor. I mean, you mentioned how many times that he has been in the championship for, time and time again. It is impressive how consistent he has been, and he is driving away right now from Chase Cabery. He has about 0.8 seconds over him, and he is faster than both Anthony Alfredo and David Schildhouse. You can see Presley Sora right there, champion a season ago, not meant to be this season, but has moved up from his 21st starting spot up to 11th. Corey Heim is still chasing down your race leaders. The last time we checked in with them, he was about 20.4 seconds back. He's about 19 seconds back, and has also started to work his way into traffic in the back of the field. So he's made a couple passes on some drivers. He's trying to catch up to Alex LeBay right now, who runs in 31st. But Corey Heim still, over the long run, has made up time despite it. And oh, here comes Leighton Sabile. Sabile is on pit road.
Similar strategy to what he pulled off at Chicagoland just a week prior. Remember, at Chicagoland, he severely undercutted the leaders. It worked out in his favor, so the 25, despite the heavy drop-off in the first stint and over the first 42 laps, he'll come in early. It's just a question of how long will it take for everybody else to strike for their pit box. I saw Joshua Slate in this mix as well. He seemed to be really the only other driver apart from the 25 to come in, but should it signal other drivers to follow suit? We may have to see there's Sabile merging safely at the exit of turn 2. And I think Jacob Hitz, we may have reports Corey Heim might follow as well.
Yeah, unless Corey Heim hit the wrong button and it's in. He's going to be pitting here this time around, so we'll watch that 51 coming through 3 and 4 right now. And he gets back on the gas and fools us all. But Devin Henry's going to pit. He was right in front of him on the racetrack, and Corey has picked up, what, about 3 seconds since the start of the race at this point, since he had to pit for serving the penalty from last week. He's now only 17 seconds back on the race leader. And I think it's only a matter of time here before we see the rest of our leaders come in. We saw a lot of drivers toward the back of the pack that choose to come in. So I would think that the call to pit is going to be within the next 5 laps.
Well, I think there's 2 different approaches here, Eric. You have 200 laps. You can go, at least by my calculations, somewhere around 55 laps or so on fuel. And I think you're just purely going to have 2 different approaches here. You're going to have drivers who are going to try to cut this into 5 separate runs that try to go 40 laps each, and then some of them are going to go 50 laps each, as you see side by side for your lead. Oh, nearly coming to blows here in turn number 1. David Schildhaus on the outside of Anthony Alfredo for the race lead.
It's really Oh, I apologize, Kenneth. I was just going to jump in and say it really is 3-stop versus 4-stop, I think, is the strategy we're going to be looking at. And I think if you're Leighton Sabile, who clearly was just not able to keep pace on the long run, I think you have to try that 4-stop strategy. Keep the freshest tires on your car as long as possible. I think that's the only chance he's going to have based on what we saw. He's fast in the short runs, great in qualifying, great the first 5-10 laps on that outside, but faded way too fast to be in contention if he tries the same strategy as these leaders. But Blake, yeah, great action going on up front right now.
Certainly is. Schildhaus on the top side, Anthony Alfredo on the bottom, and oh, by the way, Adam Cabot is just behind your race leaders as well, side by side, and kind of working into the opposite end of the speedway, away from the sunset here. You can see Adam Cabot, one of the fastest cars that has yet to pit right now, is that number 17 car, and Schildhaus making the top work. You can see the sun blinding your drivers, and now Schildhaus is going to pull one on Anthony Alfredo and go back down to the bottom.
Schildhaus looking to the inside. I think he might push Alfredo up the racetrack, but this is only further inviting the 17. How about almost 3 wide for the race lead at the exit of turn 2? Schildhaus is able to clear. Alfredo falls back. And the 17 will look to the inside. Remember, he's well and clear away from Chase Cabery in the championship lead. This is only adding more reassurance as the 17 slots in a second, lap 47.
Alfredo perhaps starting to fade a little bit as Schildhaus saves his tires and will take the point from Anthony Alfredo. David Schildhaus, Adam Cabot, Anthony Alfredo, your top 3. Chase Cabery has not let these drivers get out of his sights, though. He's about a second back from this battle. So Cabery faded a little bit. Cabot drove away. But Chase Cabery still hanging on, holding on, has not fallen back and out of the clutches of the race leaders just yet. But boy, Adam Cabot so strong through the center of the corner. He's going to pull right up to the back of David Schildhaus, and here on the front straightaway, Adam Cabot may try to have himself a piece of the race lead.
Now remember what David Schildhaus told us. He told it to us a couple times, that I'm not racing playoff drivers any different than I am non-playoff drivers. He's here to win. And I know he was hot under the collar after last week at Chicago. I don't know if he's going to cut that 17 any breaks. I would think maybe now, since it's early on in the race, we're not even a quarter of the way through yet. We're getting close to it. But I know he's going to drive his guts out to try and hold on to this lead.
See how well he's able to do that. He's on the top. You see Cabot on the bottom, both in the race and on your screen. Down to the bottom, here comes Cabot with a little bit of a run, but Schildhaus carrying that momentum up top. Not going to make it easy, as you mentioned, Jacob. And Schildhaus hanging strong there on the top side, nearly dead even down the backstretch.
Yeah, Schildhaus is, of course, racing Cabot hard to hold on to the race lead, a bit of lap traffic in front of them as they exit turn 4. That will be the 11 of Steve Alfont, but it looks like Adam Cabot will hop on the brakes. He decides to ditch the battle. He comes for pit road. Anthony Alfredo to follow.
The 2 of your top 3 coming down for service. This would perfectly split up this race into 4 separate runs, and that is clearly the strategy that Adam Cabot and company are going to try to employ here. So David Schildhaus, your race leader. You can see Sabile right behind him. Now remember, Sabile pitted roughly 10 laps ago. But I think this shows you the difference that you have on fresh tires as Sabile flying about a second and a half faster than your race leaders that last time by. David Schildhouse has also pulled down into the pits, so Schildhouse is on pit road. So is Chase Cabery.
Yeah, and now's the time for everybody to head to the pit lane. Corey Heim's going to do the same thing here through 3 and 4. So all 4 of our championship drivers have made it to the pit lane, and he is drifting it down to pit speed, but he gets it down in time. No black flags as of yet as far as the cycle of green flag stops. And you know Corey Heim's going to be aggressive. He needs to get every second, every tenth of a second that he can to try and close in on the leaders after his penalty. Schildhouse, Cabery down and away as Heim gets to his stall.
Corey Heim will pull in, and you can see some drivers that have yet to come down and pit at this point. You can see Colin Fern running the top side right now and making it work for him as he's the race leader. Don't think it would be possible. I mean, you could save a little bit here, but as far as staying out and maybe making this a 2-stop race, you'd have to get to at least lap 67 to be safe here on this first run. Don't know if Colin Fern quite has that. You're not going to really save any fuel right in there on the top side either, but nevertheless, Fern, Nick Olson, Presley Sora, at least 3 of your top drivers that have yet to pit. You can say the same about Justin Malillo, Gary Sexton, Jordan Buster, another couple drivers who have yet to make their way onto pit road. You can see Sabile, though, has won out in the cycle for now because of how early he pit. He's been utilizing those fresh tires to his benefit and has over Adam Cabot. Well, only honestly about a second and a half. Cabot is right there. He had an incredible green flag pit cycle.
That was an amazing cycle out of the 17 of Adam Cabot. So he's going to slot ahead of Schildhouse, and that's going to give him a buffer as well because Joey Padgett is in the middle of this in P11. So the 17 should assume P1 and still with the championship lead by the time we get through this entire run and by the time everybody pits. But what I'm seeing, guys, is a mirror image of Chicagoland. I am seeing Sabile coming in early, the undercut like he did last week, Adam Cabot, Corey Heim, all of the heavy hitters, Chase Cabery, they all come down pit road at around a medium point in the run where the normal spot is for everybody to come in. And then you have guys like Colin Fern and Nick Olson staying out on the racetrack, duking it out, trying to hold out as long as they can. Looks like the intermediate races from last week and tonight are seeming to play out in the same way. Sabile hoping it ends up in his favor.
We'll see if it does. Again, I like the idea that if you are going to push your tires a little bit harder like a Leighton Sabile and you're going to use them up a little bit, you need those extra pit stops to try and take advantage of those fresh tires and use them a little bit. Now, if you're going to cut out a pit stop, well, guess what? That means you got to save a little bit, and that's what Adam Cabot has been so good at, who the last couple of laps has been better about a half a second than Leighton Sabile each lap. So looks like right here, change potentially for the race lead in the championship standings. Adam Cabot to the outside. Sabile, not much he can do on 10-lap older Goodyear Eagles. And Adam Cabot, once again, he rides 7th on the racetrack, but is 1st in the championship standings.
Yeah, he's only, 6/10 off that last time by of Cabot. So Cabot really just hauling the mail right now. And those 10 laps are going to be crucial here, I think, and Sabile, I hope he's got the math figured out because he is gonna need some help, I would think. We'll see how this works because I didn't think it was gonna work last week and then it did. There's a long way to go here, but he may need help.
That's what it's looking like. I really like the position that Adam Cabot is in right now. Colin Fern came down in pit, so Presley Sora is still your leader. Lap 58 of 200. And guys, I mean, this is a long race. There is plenty of time and plenty of things that could still potentially happen in this. We know MNR sometimes has the proclivity for a lot of late race drama, and we are not even a third distance through this race yet. So still plenty of time for things to unfold here in the GridRival Season 6 Championship. But of course, Monday Night Racing, a proud partner with Interstate Batteries. Interstate Batteries has built to top industry standards and has been the technician's choice for 9 years and counting. Powered by a distributor network of 300 wholesale warehouses and backed up by more than 150,000 dealers around the world, as well as 200 all Battery Center franchise stores, Interstate seeks to deliver the most trustworthy source of power to the world every single day. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable and a proud partner of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. We'll get a look at an update here on our GridRival featured matchups. Of course, two of them involving our championship contenders, Corey Heim, Leighton Sabile at even odds, although right now Sabile kind of well in front of that battle with Corey Heim's penalty. And Adam Cabot slightly favored over Chase Cabery, and the numbers are playing out so far as Adam Cabot through this cycle has actually taken the lead of the race overall. Nick Olson, Presley Sora, and the like have finally made their way to pit road. And again, GridRival NASCAR fantasy matchups partnering with the sport to have a $100,000 season-long contest. Again, a lot left. You can look up the GridRival app, both in the App Store and on Google Play. Should be a lot to come from our friends at GridRival. So we'll reset everything now that the entire cycle has completed. You have Adam Cabot, your race leader. David Schoenhaus about a half second back or so, looking and actually running down your race leader and Adam Cabot for second. You have Leighton Sabile still hanging on for third, second in the championship battle. Anthony Alfredo, who led a good majority of the opening portion of this race, rides in third, followed by, well, actually, he just passed Leighton Sabile for third, so moves Sabile back to fourth. And here is Chase Cabery, who also pit a little bit later than Leighton Sabile, and there you can see the difference in tires. Cabery goes by, and he will take over the fourth spot.
Yeah, we're going to see this all night out of Sabile, right? Where he's just going to keep getting passed and passed and passed. And, you know, he's in it for the long run. We'll see how it comes to at the end of the night. But right now, with Adam Cabot's speed, you know, even though Schoenhaus kind of closing in on him a little bit, Cabot doesn't have to go out and win this race necessarily to win the championship.
No, he doesn't, but you know what? It's kind of looking like that, at least as a possibility right now, with he and David Schoenhaus running up front. You can see Sabile under attack right here. Reed Wilson, another driver who's had a pretty quiet season, but has found himself time and time again in contention and running up in the top 5 with some chances at some race wins. And he is really taking advantage of these long-run races. Makes the move by and will pass Leighton Sabile right there in short order.
You want to hear the front end of Reed Wilson, a driver for Team Joyride, and teammates with former playoff driver Joey Padgett. Now, of course, Reed Wilson has been around MNR for a while. Joey Padgett in his first ever season in Monday Night Racing Pro Series history, and Team Joyride has been an underdog team to watch for. They have both been so consistent over the last half of the regular season. Reed Wilson has been putting up good race after good race after good race, and then the 83 of Padgett putting in a playoff run in his first season. So a lot to watch for potentially out of that Team Joyride camp by the time we get to season number 7, where we roll off in October. There's James Bickford moving his way around Leighton Sabile. Next driver to catch up to Sabile will be Will Rogers, and Rogers has a 10-lap advantage over that 25 as he goes.
Corey Heim is looking 4 wide off of turn 4, and one car was loose. It was Joshua Slate who nearly lost it off of the corner. And Corey Heim may have had himself a big moment right there as he was nearly 4 wide, had to go to the bottom 3. Slate slid up the racetrack, and this is kind of what you get having to come back through traffic. Just a lot of congestion in front of him. You're going to see the 0-1 on the top. Heim rolls the bottom, Slate up the racetrack. It's a little loose, and boy, could that have been something for Corey Heim, but you know what? It works out. He gets a handful of spots in that exchange, moves up to 18th, and by the way, If you want to do the math, we keep talking about how far behind the leader that Corey Heim is. He is now 18.5 seconds back. So Heim is continuing to make up time despite about a 22-second, let's call it, timing penalty that is what it about worked out to. So I got to say, we have a long ways to go. We're just now a third of the way through. He'd need a little bit of luck right now, but I think if we get a caution, Corey Heim is the fastest car here at Homestead-Miami tonight.
Yeah, well, let's see. Last time by, he was only a 10th faster than your race leader, but he's putting on about equal lap times to Anthony Alfredo, who's in third. Now he's 2.5 seconds back on the leader, but Heim is flying around the racetrack, and at this pace, if this thing stays green all the way to the end, I don't know if he'll be able to win it, but I think he'll at least be in contention to have a shot at Cabery.
And he'll be driver of the day if that happens, which of course is not a championship, but if we could award that here in a NASCAR race, it would certainly go to the driver of the 51, who now finds himself in the 17th position, rather. So he's moved up even another spot from there. You see George Belfans Jr. right now. He runs back in 20th in a battle with Matt Stallneck, Preston Pardus. This is kind of that grouping that Heim was kind of directly around a couple of laps ago. Mentioned these races can change with yellows. It's looking like this would be, if there was going to be a spot on the racetrack where it might happen, this might be it.
A lot of competition around this midfield. There you see the 94 diving to the inside. This is going to be a pass attempt for 19th on the track. Stallneck, a playoff driver, eliminated from last week's race at Chicagoland Speedway. And here comes, I believe, Max Kennan. There's Steve Alfont, a lap car going to be in it. There's a look at Ford Martin, who's in the back end of all of this as they go side by side. And Valfans just may make that spot happen. He does. So Valfans in the 94 moves up to 19th. We'll look to Preston Pardus, P Money for 18th on the track. A nice look out of Martin, who has built up some consistent runs throughout this MNR season. Obviously did not make the playoffs, but has had a lot of fun out on the racetrack and might make up some nice spots here. Kennan, Stallneck, Valfans all within range and striking distance, and Ford looking underneath the 21 for the spot. Kennan gets way loose out of turn 2.
Oh, big slide there, and it's almost contact made right there with Presley Sora and the 21 car. Remember, Sora pit late in that green flag cycle, so he's got some good Goodyear Eagles with him right now. And oh, nearly squeezed into the wall. Golly, that is close.
Yeah. They're trying for wreck. This is exactly like last week, where drivers start losing focus. They're getting tired. You know, they've been doing this now for 73 laps. They're getting close to halfway. They're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it is pandemonium heading into turn number 3. And it is getting tight back here. Presley Sora, Steve Affont, you got Ford back here, Max Kennan. They're all over each other. This is what, 20th on back?
Oh, car on the wall. That looks
trouble.
Michael Massey on the front straightaway.
Man, and he's already hit it once tonight and had to go to the pit lane for it. He's got, well, now more damage to the right side of that car. Looks like now a beat up Celsius can.
That's at least what the car looks like right now. And man, again, we talk about how this race could really flip with these guys racing back here. I mean, this is part of what makes Monday Night Racing special, is that everybody's going to fight for every single spot on the racetrack, regardless if they're competing for the championship or not. There's still a lot of pride on the line, and even some points battles kind of a little bit further down the running order in terms of, you know, everybody trying to finish as high up in the standings as they can. You see Reed Wilson right there, but yeah, it is contentious right now for that 20th spot. It is pretty calm, relatively calm up front with Adam Cabot, Chase Cabery. You have Corey Heim right now, who runs in the 16th position, as well as Leighton Sabile, your 4 championship competitors, who right now runs in 8th. Now, for Leighton Sabile, it would be close to pitting time if you're going to split this up into 5 stops, or 5 separate runs, rather, I should say. You're kind of coming up here in about 5 or 6 laps, so what would be time for Leighton Sabile to come down and pit. So that is the nice thing if you are Sabile, that you are on old tires, but you're not for long.
You're going to have to wait just a little less than everybody up in the front to come down for pit road. But of course, Sabile found himself in the same situation at Chicagoland, and just a big difference in the last half of the race. As it stayed green, he was able to hold off the competition more and more as everyone run went by. So for Sabile, of course, he's dropping back like a rock just because of the tire advantage that everybody else has on him. But if he can mitigate the effects of it coming later into this race, Sabile might still be a factor, even though he's had to pit earlier than everybody else, and even though he's got older tires than everybody right now. That was DJ Cummings making his move into the top 10 once more. And how about Ryan Vargas, guys? Started 17th. I think this is the first time he edges his way into the top 10. The Allure Gas Security, number 26 Chevy Camaro. Vargas has been very stealthy here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. 77 laps in, up to PA. I'd say that's good progress.
That it is. Eric Estep, I know you're always in tune. Of course you would be with everything that's going on in the chat out there. What's everybody saying? What's everybody kind of looking forward to the most as we continue to march on here from Homestead?
Right now, they've been trying to piece together. They've been like, oh, that's the real Anthony Alfredo. That's Preston Pardos. That's Robbie Lyons. They're starting to learn, some of the newcomers to Monday Night Racing are starting to learn just how heavy some of these drivers actually hit. There are a lot of real-world NASCAR drivers in this field who are having good runs here tonight. Others in the chat have been trying to piece together this strategy, which I've been watching Leighton Sabile closely, and this run has actually gone a lot better than his first run. I expect him to pit here in the next couple of laps, and by the end of that first run, he was back around 18th place, 14, 15 seconds away from the leader. Right now, he's only 13 seconds back, but he's in 11th. So, right now, run 2 shaping up a lot better than run number 1, so I wouldn't completely rule out Leighton Sabile and his variant extra stop strategy.
I wouldn't rule it out either. We'll see here. If he does so, it will be within the next lap or 2 that we would see Sabile drop down and pit. Working at now lap number 79 of 200. Again, all of which have been run so far under the green flag. There you see Corey Heim. He goes by Joey Padgett. That is for position. So Heim now up to 15th. Again, with a 22-second penalty. I mean, that's very impressive that with that he has managed to pass nearly half the field. And of course, I think Jacob was helped by the way that he had the first pit stall. He went out and won the pole. He had the opening pit stall. That's got to be some help, and a little bit less time that he would have lost because he basically got to pit in front of the entire field. So if anything, he's done everything within his control tonight to try to rectify that situation.
Here comes Leighton Sabile on the pit road, his teammate. And it's been, just about 40 laps since car 25 was on the pit lane. That 5-stop strategy, he says, yeah, give me some more tires. Joey Padgett will do the same thing. He's on the same sort of strategy. Reed Wilson, Devin Henry, they're all in the same boat here. And Sabile in, and actually I thought that was Reed Wilson. That was just the front end of Henry. Henry's down and away already. Right side's up. Left side's about to go up here on Sabile. But you're exactly right on Corey Heim. He's doing everything that he has to do to try and win himself the championship given the circumstances. Without a caution, he had to start from the front, so he wasn't losing too much time. And at this point, he's just been putting out heaters every single time around the racetrack. He's gotten himself now into 14th position. Still a long ways back behind the race leader, and I think that shows just how strong Adam Cabot is here. But Corey Heim putting himself in position right now to try and make a run for the title.
See if he's able to complete it again. He is faster, I guess, overall, or at least has been since he left pit road. Heim has made the most amount of distance in the least amount of time. So we'll see if he can kind of get that yellow to reset things, how it would shake up this fight for the championship. But yes, you can see in front of Adam Cabot, not a whole lot of lap traffic to deal with, and not really a whole lot directly behind him either. That gap to David Schildhouse has opened up to about 1.6 seconds. Schildhouse, Alfredo, Cabery, and James Bickford right now, your top 5. But no doubt about it right now, Adam Cabot has taken full advantage of the situation and has put it to good use. And as far as all your contenders up here, I mean, he has shown by far the most pace tonight.
Yeah, employing the long run strategy, and Schildhaus was catching up to him at first in the opening part of that run, but then lap after lap, Cabot puts a faster lap, Schildhaus evens out or is a little bit slower, and then all of a sudden, Cabot now up to 2 seconds of the lead, and a nice buffer back to Chase Cabery, two non-playoff drivers in the middle. There's a look at Ronnie Osborne now getting passed by Corey Heim, so Heim steps up to 13th again. It just cannot extend the absolute astonishment that we've seen out of Corey Heim here, being able to move up to the field so efficiently despite the penalty and having no caution flags to help him either. Also have a driver on pit road, that is the 66 of Reed Wilson, so the Team Joyride Toyota Supra going to come in. But I think Corey Heim, although he's made so much progress since the drop of the green, I think that toe-to-toe fight with Cabot is going to take a lot of work, because Cabot and Heim, despite being on 2 different places on the racetrack altogether, they've been the fastest and the most consistent over the long run. And in a long race, you need all of that.
That you do. You can see Ford Martin making his way down to the bottom of the racetrack to try to get by some traffic. As far as the championship battle is concerned, we mentioned a couple laps ago, Leighton Sabile did come down and pit, and he is flying right now to the tune of 1.5 seconds faster per lap right now than your race leader. And you know, you guys mentioned it. This is exactly how everything played out last week at Chicagoland, that essentially the extra pit stop paid out because of how much time you make up on fresh tires. And the more that we continue to run green, obviously, if a caution were to come out, Sabile is a lap down, and this strategy would totally be thrown out the window. But I'm curious to see what the math works out to, what it cycles around, that every single time he gets to chip away and kind of get 10 laps, or what will be this time, he'll be out there for 20 laps on these tires before the rest of the field kind of considers coming in. So he'll have a lot of time that he's made up. And again, curious to see that all the time that these crew chiefs kind of spend on strategy and timing everything out, what ends up working for Leighton Sabile.
Well, and we talked about it, Blake, with Leighton in pre-race about what he's going to do. You know, whether he thought this would go caution-free like a week ago at Chicagoland, and whether or not he thought that he would have a shot like he did at Chicagoland. And he seemed to indicate that they may be thinking along the same lines as far as strategy for tonight. And so far, things are going pretty well, but, you know, like I said, we're what, 11 laps from halfway? So there are still plenty of time. There's still plenty of time for somebody to make a mistake, bring out a caution, and then the Sabile camp is going to be left scratching their heads trying to figure out what in the world they're going to do to try and win this race.
A lot of time for this to play out as we continue to march forward here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Blake McCandless, Eric Estep, Jacob Hitz, and Kenneth Bueno on the call with you tonight from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. So many different ways to take in this championship event tonight. You have obviously our broadcast right here. We are live on iRacing's Twitch channel as well as Eric Estep's YouTube channel. You have the watch party taking place with the Garage Guys and Darrell Waltrip that's happening over on Podium 2. And of course, if you look around Twitch a little bit, you'll find some drivers who are streaming in this race and giving you a look at their vantage point. Drivers like David Schildhaus, Anthony Alfredo, who's usually streaming on Monday Night Racing. I know Garrett Smithley would be, but he is not out there competing tonight. But so many different ways to try and take in this race, and we're happy to be bringing you this coverage here tonight. But Adam Cabot right now at the top of the heap right now, and doing so by quite a lot. Nearly 4 seconds is what he's opened up as we have one car on the outside wall off of turn 4. It is Josh Slate once again. That was directly in front of your race leader. And Cabot there probably had a little bit of a heart-stopping moment right there off of turn 4.
Yeah, that is something that you do not want to see if you're well on ahead of the race lead and ahead of the championship. You see the 01 get into the outside wall at turn 2, Cabot right behind it, and then Slate running almost the outside wall in 3 and 4. He's looking at Cabot on the bottom. There's Slate in the wall again. The last thing you would pray for is that 01. You do not want to see that 01 travel down the racetrack directly into you. Luckily, Slate keeps it off of the wall, keeps it off of Cabot, does a nice job of recollecting his Camaro, but just a little bit of a scare for Adam Cabot. And guys, it's only going to get worse if we stay green before these guys pit. If Cabot continues to find lap traffic over and over and over again, the scares might just get a little more often. And for Cabot, you need to maintain your composure as Anthony Alfredo has looked to pick up some speed on David Schildhouse. Might have a nice fight for second in a couple of laps.
You know, these two friends have had a handful of battles and helped each other win races here in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series. So we'll see what the friendly gesture is this time. As boy, Alfredo, a lot of speed there through the center of 3 and 4, and he will look to take it to the inside of David Schildhouse. And again, a lot of respect between these two. I don't think Schildhouse is going to put up much of a fight, and there you see it. So Anthony Alfredo led a good portion of the early goings in this race and finds himself now back up to second. And really tough that for Alfredo this season that he is not competing for a championship. He can largely blame his internet provider more than himself. He was strong in the regular season, had so many issues loading into races and not being able to maintain a connection with the server for about a month. It plagued him, and that was enough to knock him completely out of playoff contention. Somebody who's always so strong here in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series. So tough sledding for Alfredo this season, but I'm sure he'll look to bounce back next time out in season 7.
Yeah, and you know, he went from playoff contender to almost outside the top 35 in points. That's how bad it was. As Connor Berry is having a moment on the front straightaway, he about crashed with Steve Affont here on the front straightaway. Track is all clear. Affont got hooked into the outside wall and then came back down into Berry. Both cars are still rolling, but both cars have some damage. The lap before, you saw Max Cannon get into the wall. He was racing with Justin Melillo. That time around, it's lappers again. This is, well, right in front of, I believe that was Josh Slate there that was right in front of that 01 machine. He's able to get through just fine, but some big damage for those guys. And I believe both now headed to the pit lane.
Very close call there. Again, nobody went around, so we stay green. More cars starting to dip down into the pits right now. Sabile has unlapped himself past Adam Cabot and is clear up the road by about 2 seconds. As Schildhouse, you can see right here, running in third. You have to imagine that the call down to the pits is only about 4 or 5 laps away for that number 20 car. But I think that goes to show you Sabile has made up a ton of ground over the course of this run, and it will be in the race lead pretty considerably should this all cycle through. Now you see Chase Cabery leaving the pits. He has made his pit stop on lap 97 for his race. So Cabery cutting short, or just a little bit, of lap 100. See if it works out for him as he tries to make up some ground on Adam Cabot.
And what's most important here, Blake, that you're seeing on this second round of green flag pit stops is the 51 of Corey Heim comes in. He's going to look for that first pit stall right behind the iRacing official pace car. Is the difference now in decision? Last time around, we had more of a general consensus from the championship four, apart from Sabile, who had deviated from the regular plan that Adam Cabot, Corey Heim, and Chase Cabery followed. Now, Cabot's in the race lead by about 4 seconds. Cabery just pitted. Heim now pits a lap later. So everybody now altering on their own different paths, and it's going to mean more interesting outcomes, Blake, by the time we cross now halfway at lap 100, and we'll be getting into the next couple of green flag stops to follow. The 17 will not look for the pit lane, so he's going to remain the only championship driver to stay out this long. We'll see if it pays off.
Well, I think it's an adjustment if you think about it, because look at how well Cabot is running. He is fast, and I think these other 3 competitors are starting to kind of take note that we're going to have to do something to try and make up for the amount of speed that Adam Cabot has possessed tonight. So whether that's shortcutting a couple of laps and maybe trying a little bit of strategy to try and jump ahead for a little bit over the course of the next run, that's what they're going to have to do. Now, if you're Cabot, you're going to stick to the game plan right here, and exactly that on lap 100. He's going to make his way down to the pits. No concern of speeding right there for Adam Cabot. Gets safely down to 50 miles an hour. And Cabot will start this round, or at least this cycle for him, on pit road. The rest of your championship 4 have already pitted, and in short order, you're going to see that number 25 car, as far as the championship battle is concerned, take the lead as Colin Fern takes the lead out on the racetrack.
And just about everybody inside the top 5 there pitted. Fern, Olsen, Cummings. We saw them stay out a while ago at the start of this, so they'll stay out again here. But Alfredo, Billy Turner, Ryan Vargas, they're all on the pit lane. And I would expect Fern and Olsen here to stay out another 5 laps or so, maybe more. I would think DJ Cummings might be coming in here in a lap or 2 because of how long he's been out there. He's been out on those tires the 450 laps, so he's going to be looking for a way to get to the pit lane as soon as possible, but he's in a battle right now, actually, with Nick Olsen. Olsen just out in front of him here by about a tenth and a half or so. They make their way off turn 2, but I think DJ's probably going to be coming in this lap.
Yeah, probably so. Again, Olsen on 6-lap fresher tires. You can probably push it just a little bit more on fuel right now than DJ Cummings. And actually, no, Olsen's going to pit and slow up this time. Or I thought he was. Oh, trouble! Cummings and Vargas slide off of turn 4, and they save it. That was nearly our first caution of the night. As I don't really know what happened there. Vargas got a little loose. Cummings thought that Olsen was pitting. I thought that Olsen was pitting because of how much he slowed down in the middle of the corner. But once again, contact made. Everybody saves it. We stay green.
Yeah, just look at the situation here. Cummings slides up the track. Vargas goes way up and hits that transition of the seam, gets sideways. They both hip check each other. Fortunately, they both keep it straight. There's one thing you have to note as well about this Homestead-Miami Speedway is it has very, very long exits, and you can easily get the car sideways when you're emerging up the racetrack and following to that outside wall to get the line on the front or back straightaway. Here's a look from Case Collenbach's car, and splitting through the middle. Close call from the 26 and the 10. Unfortunately, they'll stay alive, and we will stay green with 97 to go.
That we will. Back to the back bumper. You can see that is Case Collenbach, who's going to go around some traffic right there. Back to Chase Cabery right now, who runs in 8th, and he is not ahead of Adam Cabot. Despite the fact that he's short pit by about 5 laps, Cabot is further up the road. So yet again, another cycle that Cabery's just going to have to execute really well and try to hold on as well as he can. Cabot right now in 7th. Leighton Sabile is about 3.5, call it 2.5 seconds up the road. Now down to 2 seconds. So, man, I keep thinking that Sabile is going to have this magnificent lead on Adam Cabot, but just he doesn't get out as far ahead as I would think. I thought that, you know, if you're Leighton Sabile, you had 20 laps worth of fresher tires to make up time on Cabot. I thought you'd be up about 5 seconds right now, not 1.5, but I think that just goes to show you the speed that Cabot has in that 17 car right now.
Well, not only that, Blake, but Cabot's going to pass Sabile before Fern and Olsen pit. He's only a second back. He's gaining a second a lap over Leighton Sabile. So he is flying around the racetrack, and he's going to get there in the next lap or 2. So he's going to pass Sabile, and Sabile's not even going to get a chance to lead officially off of this pit cycle.
As much as I love what Sabile's trying to do and do a different strategy, I really gotta love the position that Adam Cabot is in. You see him blow by, and there he goes. Adam Cabot back to the race lead for the championship. Or not the race lead overall, but just amongst your championship 4 competitors. You can see all running 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. Chase Cabery is going to pass Leighton Sabile here in short order. In fact, he's going to do it off of turn number 4 right now. So Sabile falls into 3rd in the championship standings. Meanwhile, Corey Heim, through this cycle, has lost a ton of time. He is, well, actually, never mind. That is to Colin Fern, who is still the race leader. As far as Cabot is concerned, Corey Heim is 12 seconds behind Adam Cabot. So, again, another huge net gain for Corey Heim. Now, remember, he pit about 3 laps earlier, but Heim I know we keep talking about the speed that Adam Cabot has, but I still think Corey Heim is if you take the amount of distance that he's covered since he left pit road and everybody else, Corey Heim has been the fastest car since then.
Yeah, it has been impressive out of the driver of the 51 and the Marietta, Georgia native. I mean, this 51, despite all of the challenges and the obstacles, I mean, he knew the challenges going into the race. He knew the penalty was going to be assessed to him for a couple of days before he dropped the green flag, and Heim said, that doesn't matter. I don't care if there's a penalty assessed to me or not. I'm going to put up the fastest laps on the track. I'm going to show the championship for why I'm here, and Heim just needs, I think, that last little nudge in the right direction, a little break, a little situation that falls in his favor for him to officially catch up to guys like Cabery and like Adam Cabot for the championship lead. For now, we've been touting his speed. It's just track position has been the biggest problem here at Homestead. You take away track position, you put that in his favor. I think that 51 might just be toe-to-toe, if not faster, than the 17. You look on board with Sabile, who again falls into this free fall through the field, and it reminds me as well the situation he put himself in at Chicagoland for the win. I mean, we talked about it, it was in a truck, so you have a lot more dirty air, less power on the car, and at Chicagoland, a track that was very hard to pass on the inside. So Sabile was able to use all of that, wager that to his advantage. Now that's all been ripped away. So Sabile has been falling short on this strategy, and it's hurting him dearly. He's going to have to change it or get a caution if he wants to have a break to get him into the championship lead.
And full disclosure on what was the reasoning for that penalty. So back at Chicagoland, Leighton Sabile obviously went on to win the race. As Leighton mentioned in his pre-race comments, he and Corey Heim, obviously teammates in this race and in this series. When Corey Heim last week experienced internet issues, of course, he had already transferred in to the Championship 4 by virtue of a win in the previous round. He went out onto the racetrack several laps down, and it was deemed that he was assessed the penalty because of battling with this driver right here, David Schulthaus, who was trying to run down Leighton Sabile. Now, Schulthaus completely out of the playoffs, but was still competing for a race win. The league administration went back and reviewed the replay of that race and deemed that Corey essentially manipulated the race by racing at Schulthaus and side drafting him and all of those things to try and help his teammate in Leighton Sabile win. That is the reasoning for the penalty that he was assessed, and he has tried to make the best of it here in this race, so that is why he was put behind. But for now, it has been hard to hold him back. He runs in the 9th position with Adam Cabot right now, your leader, and hearing that Nick Olson may have to come down and pit a second time, and indeed that is the case.
Believe it's speeding on exit, Blake. No issue as far as coming back onto the racetrack and the blend line. He was doing 54 miles an hour by the time he got to the exit of pit lane, and he was pretty consistent up that high. He has to pull into the box now, and he's going to have to sit there and think about his life choices for the next 40 seconds, I believe, is the penalty before Nick Olson can go back out onto the racetrack. And Nick Olson, barring any cautions, his shot is over. He gets, a 16-second stop, and he is down and away.
So Olson will get back on the racetrack again. He's got a lot of time to make up. You wonder if in a race like this, he would just kind of call it quits, but he is not a quitter. He is going to come back out on the racetrack and continue to make some laps, albeit that he would, I think, cycle through to 2 laps down when it's all said and done. You see James Bickford battling right behind Will Rogers right now. It's a battle for 7th and 8th out on the racetrack. Bickford's found himself in a couple of battles amongst the top 10. You can see on the edge of your frame right there, Corey Heim at the top of it. Heim has entered the top 10. He is running in 9th.
Yeah, great progression from the 51. He should catch up to the likes of Sabile here soon. And of course, James Bickford and Will Rogers, who have been putting up great battles over the last couple of runs, and Rogers and Bickford just very consistent here. Rogers, a previous champion at MNR back in Season 2, the Maui, Hawaii native, and also, by the way, a member of the Hog Tamers team. So let's say if Heim catches up to these guys, Rogers might just give him a little freebie, say, hey, you can go by. I won't fight you too hard. I know you're in the Championship 4. So there may just be a situation with that. They're going to try and get around Presley Sora for 5th. Car in the outside wall up ahead of the road. I believe that might be Ronnie Osmer in the 55. Never mind, that's Joshua Slate. But next battle here as Sora falls back. I think the P7.
He's pitting because he hasn't pitted yet. That's why I'm like, why is he pitting? I thought he stopped. No, he's been out there for 58 laps, so I think he ran that thing dry.
Wow.
And he's come to pit lane, so we've got strategy, we've got alternative strategy, and Presley Sora is on the alternative strategy here.
Julian Sora, I think at this point, he's just having some fun after falling out of contention for the championship here late in these playoffs. You see a lot of focus on the face of Ford Martin right now, trying to fight his way back into the top 20. He's running 19th right now.
It's a nice crypto autosport trio here. 16th, 17th, and 18th. DJ Cummings, Matt Stolnick, Ford Martin. These drivers obviously great friends with each other off of the track. And Ford Martin, Stolnick, Cummings among some of the founders of this series. So kind of cool. All three of them lined up. I'm sure that's going to be a screenshot by the time we wave the checkered flag here from Homestead-Miami. All three of them running in contention with one another. Obviously, DJ Cummings the fastest out of the three. Been one of the most consistent out of the group and putting himself in the top 10 as we look back on board with James Bickford, and still not letting up on the 7 and Will Rogers. We might see them go side by side, but Rogers could also be slowing Bickford down to get with Corey Heim. And Corey Heim is not too far behind. It's roughly a second and a half to these guys. With lap traffic, with the way these guys have been running so far, Heim might just catch up and put himself into the top 5 after all.
Might be able to do just that. Boy, this is a good battle right here. Will Rogers, James Bickford toe-to-toe right here, right in lockstep with each other. Not a lot of separation between these two. You can see just behind them. A little bit of lap traffic coming into play. 80 laps to go here from Homestead-Miami. First 120 laps, all under the green flag, and Leighton Sabile is pitting once again here, Jacob.
It's been 41 laps, so now's the time. Joey Patchett, who pitted with him that last time they were on the pit lane, he is going to stay out for one more lap. But Leighton Sabile on the pit lane. This is stop 3 of 5, so he's going to have 2 more to make it to the end of the race. I don't know. This strategy seems to be splitting apart at the seams the more this race stays green.
Well, you think about it, everybody else is going to pit one more time. You'd imagine that Sabile pitting now, he cannot make it to the end, 80 laps on fuel. So you'd think he'll pit around lap 160. Now, he may make up some time in that, but everybody else, Cabot and the like, they only have one more pit stop to go. So as much as I was intrigued by it, the math just hasn't worked out where Sabile's been able to make up a ton of time making these 40-lap runs over everybody else who's able to hold on to their tires, 10 laps longer every single run and be able to make it work. Eric, I know 78 laps to go, but the great thing about this week is that Daytona is just around the corner. Are you doing anything fun? I know I saw you there at Daytona last year, but anything good planned for Out of the Groove and whatnot approaching Daytona this weekend?
Kinda, sort of. Yes, I will be at Daytona beginning Wednesday. We'll be doing a live stream just after qualifying Wednesday night on my channel with other YouTube creators, The Iceberg, Black Flags Matter, and Danny B Talks. We'll all be live late after qualifying, so that's going to be fun. But other than that, I don't have a ton of specific plans. I will be hopefully shooting a bunch of stuff and getting a lot of great sound bites and clips at the track all week long. And if you see me, I'm usually the tall guy in a black and yellow shirt or hat. I encourage all the viewers, fans out there to come say hi, talk a little racing. It'll only be my second Daytona 500 ever, so I'm still kind of a new with this whole thing. Yeah, I'm
so
still
last season was your first?
It was. Wow. It was so great. I had to, I feel like I got to go back now every year until the end of time. There's nothing else quite like it. So I'm excited to be out there, hopefully see a bunch of fans as well. And I want to chime in real quick on some of this pit strategy. I don't love where Leighton Sabile is at, but I will say this. whenever Cabot and Cabery make their final stop, typically Sabile's been able to hold the lead for about 10 laps. So in a perfect world, if a caution comes out between like laps 150, 160, just after the final stop for Cabot and all them, I think that's Sabile's only chance, because then he'll have the track position. Maybe everyone will be forced down pit road. We'll see. I think that's his one shot. So keep an eye out with about 40 to 50 to go. That's when Sabile, I think, is going to be calling for debris, yelling about rain, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Eric. It's going to be lap 150, which would be in 25 laps. So, yeah, with anywhere between 50 and 45 to go, if Sabile can get a caution somewhere in that time frame or around that window, he'll look like a genius. But as far as us going all the way through to the end without a caution, at this point, I don't see how the math works out to where he'll cycle through and stay ahead of Adam Cabot. But again, that's why they run the race and why he elected to try something, especially after that first run where he was really struggling. But yes, that window is open, but it's also kind of closed in a way, because if you get a caution right now, he's going to be a lap down and have a lot of traffic that he's going to have to go around to get back on the lead lap. Lately, Cabot not quite as strong as he has been. At least Alfredo, the last couple of laps, has kind of been running him down. It's been about a 3-second gap. Oh, boy, that is tight there versus Sabile, though. You can watch him go to work right now. And, boy, he is threading the needle right there in the middle 3 wide.
At 25, making it work, though. Everybody clearing out the way. Parting C's, that's pretty scary when you're in the middle 3 wide, diving for turn 3 at over 185 miles an hour. Sabile able to clear that, but I think it's just because Cabot was forcing some lap traffic. At one point, he was 3 wide with the likes of, I believe, Matt Stallneck and Ford Martin coming out of turn 4. And if there's one thing to note, Blake, about racing lap traffic, the worst place to reach them is at the exit of a corner, because you're trying to find momentum off of it. All the lap cars are obviously slower than you, and if you catch up to them, a wrong exit can slow you down drastically. So now Cabot's starting to get back into the rhythm. Instead of 35.3, Anthony Alfredo at the cross of the stripe, now 35.37, a little bit slower, but roughly around the same pace. So I think it's just Cabot running into lap traffic, and as soon as it starts to get more populous, it's going to get worse, and that's where it's really going to test Cabot, and it might help Corey Heim if he stays consistent enough.
I was wondering, Ford said something right there as he was on our screen. He said something over the public chat. I couldn't quite make out what it was.
You know what it is, Blake? He's so bored out there. He set this race up. He wants a caution.
Wow.
Oh, no.
I think that's the deal. I didn't see anybody wreck.
Well, he also did just go a lap down. So, I think he would be the lucky dog right now. Which, yeah, of course, if you're in the lucky dog position, of course you're going to want a caution. I mean, it's not just Ford. That's anybody that's in that situation.
It's still pretty funny, though. I'll be honest. It's a little funny to see Ford Martin. He's watched this race go green. Lap 131, he wants the caution. And it will spice things up. No doubt about it. And obviously, again, just that lucky dog position. But he may lose that once the leader, Adam Cabot, gets to the next car in line, which is George Balfance Jr. It's going to take a little bit of time, but Ford Martin, I think, just trying to spice up the fun in the voice chat as he fights Matt Stallneck for what's P15 on the track.
See Justin Melillo right here riding along. A little bit further back from this battle, he is hanging out right around 20th, and you can see trying to hold on to that Eagles car right in front of him, but I'm not going to try to use Eagles and holding in the same sentence right now. I know Jacob.
Oh, all right. You know what?
It took us 133 laps.
Wow, unbelievable.
Well, you can see Justin is holding on to him pretty well, though. He's going to try to make a pass here for 19th.
They're going to look under the 13 here, turn 3. A little bit of a tough entry, though. He's going to slide up the track. I think it may be good enough to get around Sexton. Indeed, it will. So a nice move here by the 53 of Melillo. That should get him into 19th on the racetrack. And also good news for Melillo. A couple of days ago, finished 5th in the Podium 500 this past weekend. So I think a little riding that high just a little bit. It was great to see that 53 out on track at Daytona and looking well at the moment. I think the next car in line is Robbie Lyons, but a little while before he gets there, he's going to get around David Schildhouse on fresh tires, and Schildhouse is P3 on the track. So Malillo will look to try and unlap himself this time by and follow in the same suit as Stolnick, Ford Martin, all the other guys.
I'm just going to go ahead and not repeat the direct message I just got from Jacob Hitz after I made that comment. We're going to keep that off the air for now. Again, Jacob, big Eagles fan, so
yeah, you know these things. Hey, I don't take pride in the fact that the city of Philadelphia has now lost 3 championships in the span of what, 4 months? MLS championship they lost, the World Series they lost, and then they lost the big game last night. They're batting a goose egg. Oh well.
But hey, you know it's worth it to be there, right? I mean, I got fans that wish
Hey, you know what? It's better than the Flyers because they don't have a chance of making anything. So at least they get to see the city win something somehow.
There we go. All right, with 65 laps to go, we'll get this broadcast back on the rails at least a little bit. So Adam Cabot right now up 4 seconds on Anthony Alfredo, and you have to imagine something drastic is going to have to change and for him to fall out of contention for this race, or he's going to have to make a mistake entering pit road, which will come up here in about 15 laps. Alfredo and Schildhouse have been strong. They run second and third. And then, of course, you have Chase Cabery second in the championship battle, 8.5 seconds back. And then all the way back to Corey Heim, who runs in third. Amongst your championship 4 competitors, has given it a heck of a fight, is still about 15 seconds behind Adam Cabot at the moment, or at least that last time by the stripe. He was about 15 seconds back. So it may be the wondering of what could have been if somehow we don't get a caution that I'm sure Heim was banking on to try to get in control.
Trouble, front straightaway. Reed Wilson is around. He missed pit road. He's on the apron, so it's not a caution. I don't know what the driver's complaining about. I get it's a car sideways, but he is not in the racetrack. He was coming to pit road. He announced it, and he locked up the tires. He missed it, and then kind of just floored it on the apron and got into the barrels, just trying to get out of the way. Here's a good shot of it. You see here, okay, so now he's on the racetrack, so he just pulls off at point into the water barrels, sand barrels, whatever. And there goes somebody on the apron, I guess, trying to hit him and cause a crash. But he makes it onto the pit road safely, I guess. And just like that, down and away.
All right, so a little damage done, but no caution thrown right there. Again, that is by the MNR rulebook. They are sticking to it right there as far as no caution is concerned. Anything off the racing surface, they will not throw it. Now, if it works off the racing surface, back onto the racing surface, then there you have it. You'd have a yellow right there, but they are sticking to the letter of the law to try and be as fair as possible to all these drivers who put in all this time all season and want this to be determined the right way. So no caution there, 61 to go. And boy, have we lapped up to 14th in this field. I mean, this has been a 140 lap green flag run. So yeah, we've lapped up to 14th, which that's got to be close to an MNR record, I would imagine.
And we also had a lot of drivers a lap down last week in Chicagoland, and it was also 14 drivers that made it on the lead lap to the checker. The last one on the lead lap at the time was Nick Olson. First car 1 lap down was 15th place Devin Henry. So we might end up in that record. Of course, if we stay green in the next 60 laps. And what I have noticed is that Corey Heim might have a shot at 5th in a couple of laps time. He's looking close on Will Rogers in P6. He's looking to James Bickford, not too far off the road, in P5. So this, along with the fact that we are getting closer to what may be the last stop for all of these guys, Heim could put himself in prime position, might leapfrog Adam Cabot if he can pull off the right move and execute it correctly.
See if he can do just that. Heim now backing up and may almost be able to crack the top 5 if he can improve a couple of positions. He's pulled up to the back of James Bickford and Will Rogers. Again, continuing his impressive drive from the tail end of the field, and now Corey Heim is up to 6th.
But he's still 14 seconds behind Adam Cabot.
Yes.
That's the downside here, is that he is still long ways away from catching up to the race leader. So a caution would help him out tremendously. Especially right now, you would put them in a window where you pit here. You're not going to be able to make it to the end. You're probably going to have to pit maybe with 20 to go if you want to split the remainder of the race, 20 or 30 to go. But I would think that some drivers would take that over going green the rest of the way. But to see.
Honestly, the way I'm thinking of approaching this, if you're Adam Cabot, you are so far ahead of everybody in terms of who you're racing. I mean, if you're Adam Cabot, you're not worried about Cabery or Heim. And speaking of Chase Cabery is down on the pits. So Cabery going to try to short pit this a little bit. He's going to try to go about 57 laps to the end. So Cabery here just throwing one of his final cards in to see if it works. So Chase Cabery down and on pit road to try and make up some time.
Yeah, you can't blame him either. The 39 has been trying different things all night long from the first 2 pit stops in this race, and he understands he's so far behind Adam Cabot, can't keep up with him on raw, long green flag run pace, so why not try and pit here, maybe save some fuel a little bit while you're at it. And the 39 of Cabery going to put his last hand out the window and see if he can get to the championship lead. Here's a big pivotal pass that can happen. What's going to be for 4th, Corey Heim, potentially looking to the inside of James Bickford. Going to have a lap car right behind him. That is the 77, Glendale, Arizona's own Devin Henry. Here comes Corey Heim, peeking to the bottom. Entrance turn 3. He'll have it, but he'll get the door shut. Bickford will hold him off for an extra lap.
Right now, Heim, again, you can imagine, not really going to exercise a whole lot of patience here. You can't really blame him. He is fighting for a championship, and at least as far as things run right now, he is 2nd in that quest. He just has one more driver to pass as far as your 4 are concerned to try to make it up. You can see Devin Henry right there. Fresher tires for the lap car is going to try to go by and actually kind of checks up. Let these guys settle it out amongst themselves. Henry had a huge run, and he hit the brakes hard to try to not run into these 2. And now Heim almost contact made with James Bickford in this battle for 4th. And now Heim's
it's over. Yeah, it's over. He's going to come to the pit lane, as will Will Rogers, and Cabot stays out for another lap. So does Alfredo. So does Schildhaus. So these guys are going to be in the danger zone here. They may have to save just a hair more fuel than somebody like Cabot, depending on when he comes onto the pit lane, but he's full throttle here through 3 and 4. He is not coming in this time by. He's going to do at least one more lap.
If I were Adam Cabot, I would stay out as long as possible. Because at this point, you're several seconds up the road. The last thing you want to do is pit here early, go a lap down, have to get a wave around, and have to try and find a way, in that direction. You may be battling cars a lap down for the championship. If I'm Cabot, I stay out that way. If a caution comes out, you're in the lead, and literally you pretty much are given the championship at that point. I mean, if everybody else is a lap down and they have to take a wave around, you're in the driver's seat in a big way. So I would stay out as long as possible, and then somehow, if you do get past over the course of this cycle, you can exit pit road with 15, 20 lap fresher tires and be right behind them. So if I'm Cabot right now, I am being patient. I'm just going to run my race, and I'm going to pit maybe not at lap 50, maybe even go a couple laps further than that, just to make sure that I am not going to get trapped a lap down.
And with how fast Adam Cabot has been over the long run, you'd think if you're the 17 or if anybody else, third party watching this, you trust that the 17 of Cabot is going to be super fast when you get to lap 20, lap 25, lap 30. And once you pin inside roughly maybe 40 laps to go, maybe a little earlier than that, 45, 46 laps to go, then this is going to be a perfect cycle again for the 17. That's if he nails the pit stop. Looks like 2 more drivers on pit road. Jacob Hitz, David Schildhaus, and James Bickford.
And Adam Cabot just came over the radio and said, I'm coming in this time around. So he'll make his way off turn number 4. You ride on board. with that 17 machine. He gets it down to 50 mile an hour by the time he gets to the cone. Alfredo will join him on the pit lane. Bailey Turner's in third. He's going to bring it to pit lane as well. So Colin Fern will retake the race lead. And Adam Cabot, the money stop for car 17.
And he didn't even chance it. Came in well beneath the pit road speed limit just to make sure that there was no chance he was going to get a black flag. You see the right sides go up. You imagine that the left sides will go up here in short order. Fill it up with fuel. He'll have plenty of gas to make it to the end. And we'll see where he cycles out. He'll leave pit road. And honestly, he's almost in the lead of the championship. He may even beat Leighton Sabile off of pit road. No, he's not going to, but he's essentially going to exit right behind him. There's Sabile right there in front of him. Yeah, in the edge of your frame. So Sabile has to pit one more time. And yet, after all of that, after pitting early, that is how good that Cabot has been. He is right there, and actually, yeah, it took him 2 corners to pass Sabile, who still has one more time to pit.
And that's just the magic of 30-lap pressure tires here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. It takes that little bit for the 17 to get around the 25. It's going to be a little tougher here. 7 laps of a difference to Chase Cabery, who's now 1.5 seconds up ahead the road. So with 49 laps to go, Cabery could put up a solid defense here. He has a chance at least to do that. And it's not that big of an advantage for Cabot either. So the 39, I think you might like this call here, pitting early, adjusting the right way, and just doing all that you can to get in front of the 17. Even if it doesn't end up the case, by the time the checkered flag waves, you know you tried, you know you did something different, and you know you put yourself in the best position possible. So Cabery with a nice call, the Florida native, they're going to hold on to third. DJ Cummings and Colin Fern still yet to pit.
Well, you have to imagine that he is going to make life as difficult as possible for Adam Cabot to try and make his way by that 39, and again, has every right to do it. He is battling for a championship, and this is pretty much his last bullet in the holster, if you want to call it that. I mean, this is going to be it, and Cabot is going to have the advantage of having fresh tires. He can go low, he can go high, he can pretty much go wherever he wants. And Chase Cabery pretty much just has to deny him any sort of point. But, I mean, golly, you can look and see it right there. He made up nearly half a second in 1 and 2. I mean, this may not be a close battle.
And Nick Olson and Corey Heim going at it. Heim booted him out of the way in turn 3 that last time by. He was holding him up. Keep in mind that 24, he is a lap down because of his speeding excursion on his last pit stop. Heim did not take kindly. He was holding him up. So Heim gave him the boot out of the way, and Olson said something, Heim said something, Olson said something back, and now both of them effectively have duct tape over their mouths for the rest of the race because Josh Mendoza muted their chat. So we won't be hearing for car 51 or car 24 the rest of the race.
Hey, you know what? If I'm Corey Heim right there, I would do the same thing. If you're that much faster, I'm battling for a championship. So long, see you later. If you're mad, you can get me back later. But I would have done the same thing if I was Corey Heim. And here is the battle for the championship, and it may just end before we even start looking at it. Adam Cabot passes Chase Cabery with relative ease on the top side of 1 and 2, and with 45 laps to go, Adam Cabot has once again resumed the race lead.
That is a textbook pass by the 17 of Adam Cabot. Went to the outside, didn't force the hand all too much. And the 39 raced to him respectfully, and Cabery going to fall to second in the championship, and Cabot with free reign to try and run away as we cross the line for 44 laps to go from Homestead-Miami. Remember, there are still 2 drivers that have yet to pit, and now I think 1, DJ Cummings, has found his way in as Colin Fern is going to stay out. But Cabot, all he has to do is just put this last stint together like he's been doing all race long and just pray yellow flag won't fly.
Yep, that's it right now. I mean, if you're Cabot, you're not even worried about Colin Fern right now. I mean, to him, Colin Fern doesn't exist. You just see that car right behind you and Chase Cabery in your rearview mirror, and that is it. So right now, you're pulling away. You got fresh tires. If you're Adam Cabot, you are sitting pretty, but of course, again, guys, this is Monday Night racing. It is never this simple that we're just going to go green and everything is going to settle out and play in Cabot's favor. We've seen time and time again how these races get flipped on their head in an instant. So Cabot has put himself in championship winning position. Everything else has to work out, though, over the next 42 laps for that to happen.
Well, it's Monday Night Racing, but last week, you know, we did actually go caution. So it's not like it's never happened before. The odds of it happening 2 weeks in a row, I would think slim to none. But Colin Fern, by the way, he hasn't pitted yet. Cabot's just so fast he passed him. So he's got the race lead. He's checked out of town. Well, yeah. Adam Cabot, he's going to have to build another shelf here, I think.
He may just have to do it. Again, not all said and done. But he is certainly looking like he is in championship winning position. I still hate to see, though, looking at the running order right now, every single run Corey Heim has cut into Cabot's lead. Every single time. I mean, right now you can see it's going back anywhere between 9 and 10 seconds. So it just makes you wonder again. We have 41 to go. A lot can change from here to the end. But you're starting, I think, to creep into the back of your mind if you're Adam Cabot, what could have been without that lap 2 penalty with this race, because Heim has just been just as fast, if not arguably faster, than Adam Cabot over the course of this race. So it really starts to make you wonder if things have played out differently, or if there was just one caution at any point in this race. I mean, it could have been on lap 3 right after he served his penalty, where that would put things right now. I mean, it's just tough to think about, but again, 39 to go, still a long ways left to settle it.
Yeah, of course, still a very long run needed to be put down. As you watch Reed Wilson here, he's looking to the inside. That is Preston Partis in the 42.
Trouble, Will Rogers is spinning and the caution's out. Turn 4, Will Rogers goes for a spin. He and Dakota Curtis made contact. Curtis, multiple laps down. He turned across Will Rogers' nose as Rogers was entering the corner. And Rogers could not hold on to that number 7 Toyota. The contact already happening there. And the caution is out. And Adam Cabot, hold on. Hold the parades. Hold everything. This thing's not done yet.
Will Rogers, you can see right there, spins and is not able to collect it after contact with the 31 car. I'm even trying to see
Dakota Curtis.
Yeah, Dakota Curtis. So is not listed as the 31. But yeah, that is why we continue to watch. It is not over until it is over. And for the first time, I mean, we went caution-free 167 laps. We just went caution-free for almost the same length of time here. So over 300 laps of green flag racing here in MNR. And we are back under caution, and boy, does this bring a whole host of new players right into the spotlight now. Jacob, correct me if I'm wrong, how many tires do these guys have left? 2, I believe?
All right. Yeah, so everybody not named, well,
yeah,
okay, remember, Sabile, Sabile hasn't stopped yet. Sora actually has an extra set over everybody, and so does Colin Fern. Those guys have 3 sets left. Everybody else has 2. So after this, everybody's going to have 1 more set, which we may have another caution since everybody's going to be bunched up. I know who you are, Colin Fern and Leighton Sabile. They're going to have 2 sets down in the pits, and we have ourselves a race now because all 4 championship drivers are going to be in contention. And interesting that Will Rogers stayed out. He's your race leader. But Cabot wins the race off the pit lane, then Alfredo, Cabery, Fern, Heim. So outside of Alfredo, your top 4, the first 5 off the pit lane.
Oh boy, a lot of things have changed here at the front of the field, and it seemed like it was maybe going to be a walk-away win for Adam Cabot, but not so here in the GridRival MNR Championship at Homestead-Miami. We have a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, and Eric, I'm sure the chat was going pretty crazy when that caution came out.
Yeah, definitely. The chat blew up. Business has picked up indeed, DC322. There's a lot of great racing going on throughout that long run. But now, I mean, you just said it, the championship four are all going to be under a blanket on equal tires for this restart. This plays perfectly into Corey Heim's hands. He's been slowly but surely inching his way up the leaderboard, but really not closing the gap to Adam Cabot so much. This caution did that work for him. So now Heim in the top 5. Leighton Sabile, we saw how great he was in the beginning of this race on a short run. And it's going to be 30 some odd laps to go. Going to have to take care of his stuff a little better, but now he's back in business. This race has completely changed here in the final stages, Blake.
And the thing is, I think you can make a case for any of them. I mean, we got 36 to go right now. It's going to be 35. And we talked about Leighton Sabile and the struggles he had on the long run. He was one of the fastest short run cars running the top side. And it's maybe a run that's short enough that he can make that work without running his tires off. And then you have Corey Heim right now. He starts in 5th, so he is right back in this thing. Chase Cabery is also on the inside, I believe. And oh boy, does this really change everything, Kenneth?
It just evened the playing field 150% because it looked like it was lean toward that 17 and lopsided against the 51 of Corey Heim. Now that's completely leveled out. The bubble's right in the middle, and you have Cabery, Sabile with a chance to spoil the party amongst two of the fastest cars we've seen all night long. It's going to take a little while for all the drivers to wave around officially here, and the leaders will catch up to the iRacing official pace car. My biggest concern, if you're Cabery, Corey Heim, Sabile, it's going to be Anthony Alfredo and Colin Fern. They're not playoff drivers, but they're going to do all that they can to try and win this race, and they might put up the stick to these drivers once we drop the green. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
13 cars, I believe is the count, just took the wave around. And actually, it may be even, yeah, I think it was 15 actually. So Ronnie Osmer in 14th down to Alex LeBay in 28th. They're all going to be on old tires. So this is going to be pretty much a 13-car race here since everybody up here pit and took tires. So they are going to pull away on these fresh tires. Top 15 did indeed pit. 34 laps to settle it here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and to crown a Season 6 champion. Green flag back in the air. Adam Cabot gets away from Anthony Alfredo. You have Cabery and Corey Heim both on the bottom looking to win a title. And oh, Cabery and Alfredo make contact in turn 1.
That was drama there. They're 3 wide at the exit of turn 2. Restart is under review by Josh Mendoza. Look at Leighton Sabile with a run on the high side. Entering turn 3. He'll look possibly 4. They are 4 wide in the middle of the corner.
Sabile tried to thread the needle 4 wide, but got a little bit loose, was not able to keep the throttle down. Now Fern wiggles off of the corner, side by side with Corey Heim. This is for the 4th position. Cabot still in control of the championship, but Alfredo is mixing it up with your championship 4 as Heim and Fern still side by side.
And Cabot's looking in his mirror, and he's loving everything that he's seeing right now. Not only is he pulling away from the rest of the championship drivers, he's got an insurance policy and Anthony Alfredo right behind him. Meanwhile, Corey Heim, he is being bullied on the racetrack right now. Colin Fern hanging on his right door. David Schildhouse all over his back bumper. Brandon Brown, by the way, he has a black flag for a restart violation. As those wave arounds, Blake, most of them weren't back at the tail end of the field by the time they got to the green flag.
So that's where the call from race control is, and 4th is Corey Heim. He has cleared Colin Fern. And now your top 4, 3 of them looking for a shot at a championship. Alfredo has not let Adam Cabot get away, and now moving up the racetrack to look for a way around that 33 is Chase Cabery. Run down the front straightaway. He may look low into turn number 1, but thinks better of it.
You watch a side-by-side battle for 5th. Colin Fern made the switchover move on the inside of David Schildhaus, so they're going to go at it. James Bickford on the backside of this as well, but I'm curious to see if Schildhaus catches up to the 51. How will he play? Because he said he won't play nice after last week, and that 20 to 51 are remarkably close on the track as the 51 tries to catch up to Cabery and Cabot. It is going to get interesting. The 20 comes off of turn 4, and he is right there heading for turn 1.
Now remember, you look at this battle with Schildhaus, remember these are the 2 where kind of that drama and controversy. This is the driver that basically, that they said Heim manipulated last week and gave him a penalty. So you can imagine Schildhaus not going to cut him any breaks. However, he pulls away. Contact with the outside retaining wall further back in the pack. Believe that was Ronnie Osmer. But
trouble off turn 2, 1 car around. In the back of the field, there is no caution. It's Reed Wilson. Cars are flying by him at full speed, but since it's at the back of the field, I guess that doesn't warrant a caution. Everybody is good now. Wilson has it pointed. No, he's still spinning down the back straightaway. He's on the apron, burning the house down like he won the race. He is way down against the inside wall. There is no caution. The field rockets off turn 2. Your top 6, 7, 8, all single file.
Cabot, Alfredo, Chase Cabery, more cars wiggling out of line. Again, James Bickford making a move down there to try and get by Colin Fern. Fern is all the way up on the wall, on the fence, as he goes side by side right now with James Bickford. Fern, kind of the first one to really test that air bubble up there. But just right now, that bottom has been so strong all afternoon long, but especially here in 1 and 2, Fern may have it figured out. But just able to hang on to the outside of James Bickford for now.
Yeah, nice pass there. Good defense from Fern there to hold on for P6, and you continue to watch your top 3 all within about less than half a second. 0.3 of a second from Adam Cabot back to Chase Cabery in 3rd, and even then almost a full second before you get to 4th place Corey Heim. So these drivers have not let the 17 run away, but I'm sure this is part of the plan. 27 laps to go. This has been Cabot's approach all night up until this point. It's just hang in there the first 10 or so laps. Then that's when you start to pull away once you get to that threshold. At this point, he hasn't crossed it, but as they're getting around Brandon Brown, and as they make more laps on the track, that distance might just become more apparent.
Well, the problem for Chase Cabery is he's matching Adam Cabot, but he has a buffer in between and Anthony Alfredo. He has not been able to make up any ground to try and get by Alfredo for the time being. And then Cabot, I mean, Cabot's just been cool, calm, hasn't let this situation affect him at all. Has just been going back to work and doing exactly what got him up to this point, which is just being smooth, running the exact same line that he's been running all night long, and trying to just drive forward. Don't even look in your mirror, Adam. Just look forward. That's exactly what he's been trying to tell himself all night long.
Well, and we're at the point now, Blake, where you have to consider if a caution is to come out, whether or not you decide to come back onto the pit lane, because everybody up here still has 1 more set of tires. We're at 25 laps to go. About 10 of these laps have been under green. I would think that you would want to come down on the pit road and get some fresh tires. Some guys may choose to just do 2 tires, or a really funky strategy. And you also have Colin Fern. You know he's going to want to pit because he has 2 sets down in the pits. So, you know, if another caution were to come out, he could go down a 3rd time, since there were so few cars on the lead lap. Now it's going to be a little bit harder since there are 28 on the lead lap.
Fastest car on the racetrack that last lap was Corey Heim. There you see Leighton Sabile. He's still stuck in a battle with Colin Fern. This is for 7th. And Sabile, despite all the short run prowess he showed early on in the night, has really struggled to try to get by these cars. Fern is pitching him down for all he is worth. He is not giving up. And oh no, Corey Heim just blinked out for a second. He may be experiencing some connection issues.
Oh, this will be a problem, and that's the thing that plagued him at Chicagoland. But it wasn't really a concern because he had already been locked into the championship 4. If it happens right here, right now, 23 laps to go, that is going to be an absolute shunt to what's been an uphill fight since the drop of the green flag, and that last time by, book it. Corey Heim, faster, 34.416. Adam Cabot at a 34.467. Cabery at a 34.495. So Heim is catching, and I think with the buffer here, 22 laps to go, going to be left once they cross the stripe. Big moment for Heim. He just needs that internet to stay put.
That he does, and like you mentioned, he's been the fastest in the top 4 these last couple of laps. Barely, but it is still significant enough to warrant a mention. That time, yep, once again, Heim time in the top 4. Fastest driver up here at the front was Corey Heim once again, and you could see that he's running a different line than everybody else. He's running the very bottom. Everybody else is running right in that first seam. I got to think that, you know, that little bit of clean air that you could get there, Jacob, is helping out Corey Heim quite significantly. Both ends of the racetrack, he's running just a little bit lower than everybody else.
It's helping him, but he's got to find a way to get more time on these drivers because the laps are winding down. 21 to go here at the start-finish line, and he's still 0.8 of a second behind the race leader. So he's trying to find any way he can. That last time by, it was actually Alfredo and Cabery that were faster. Heim was 3rd fastest, and then Cabot was the 4th fastest out of your top 4.
Anthony Alfredo is right on the back bumper of Adam Cabot, and I mean, if you're Cabot, you want to keep this position, but the one thing about being side by side and being side drafted and everything, it's going to slow both of you down. How does Cabot approach this battle for Alfredo, knowing that it may be a battle on the racetrack, but that is not the battle that he is trying to win?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting, is if the 33 gets around the 17, how Cabot approaches it, and whether he starts to enter panic mode, because he's been in a calm, collected state all race up until this point. If he gets past for that position, although it's not for the championship, that puts him a little closer to Chase Cabery and Corey Heim. So he has to adjust a lot more than he would have to the entire race up until this point. So now with 20 laps to go, I think that might be clouding your mind a little bit if you're that 17.
Trouble! Presley Sora, Ronnie Osmer. They saved it. Colin Fern also got involved, and once again, it's going into turn number 3. Presley Sora, the car that gets turned around by Colin Fern. Ronnie Osmer got in the back of Joey Padgett as well. You'll see it very similar to the first caution flag. Just contact going into the corner. Fern says he didn't mean to get into him, just wrong place, wrong time. Vargas slips by on the outside. You see the 83 and 55 get a piece right there as well, and that's got to be the caution right there, just because here comes the rest of the field. Presley Sora not happy at all over the radio.
Well, if you were saying that Fern said he didn't mean to get into him, I mean, he kind of just rode his back bumper all the way from out of turn 2 into the middle of 3 and 4. So I could see where maybe Presley Sora may not be as believing of that call right there. Now, this is going to be interesting here. 18 laps to go. This is the last set of tires for most of your championship 4, and Leighton Sabile has stayed out.
My goodness.
What are you doing? He has a set of tires, guys.
Last-ditch effort. He's probably waiting on another yellow.
He's the only guy that stayed out. Again, he's got Cabot behind him, but he's going to get eaten alive.
He's going to get eaten alive, but if he has one set of tires left and nobody else does, maybe he thinks that's his only chance. You got to think if, you know, he was running, he was losing time, he was 3 seconds back. His play right here would be to get a caution with 6 or 7 to go, but then you're restarting back in 25th, so, hey, he's trying something here, you know? And he's keeping a bunch of cars behind him from getting the wave around. That's another thing he's doing. But he's going to restart with somebody next to him who has fresher tires. So he is not going to hang on for very long.
And that's going to hurt Chase Cabery, I think, the most here on the restart, because Sabile is going to be most likely inside row 1. Cabot and Heim won't be having this problem because they'll be on the outside, so they can clear him by the time they get out of turn 2. But Cabery's 5th, so he's going to be on the inside, stuck behind Anthony Alfredo. So if Sabile has a sluggish start, Alfredo is forced to check up or just make a dire maneuver. Cabery's going to get faulted on that. He's going to be on the short end of the stick. So for Cabery, this is a tough situation you're in, watching a car all up in front, just trying all that he can to stay out. and hold on to the championship lead. It may cost Cabery a shot at the title too.
Well, and you know what happened is Corey Heim, through virtue of that first pit stall, beats Chase Cabery off of pit road. And it's with what you just mentioned, Kenneth. It's almost a double whammy because not only does he pass Cabery, he doesn't have to restart on the inside line where you imagine that Sabile on old tires, he could spin them. He's just not going to get going nearly as fast as Adam Cabot is on the top side. So Corey Heim is right in it, in the thick of things, right when it matters most.
This is gonna be something.
Yes.
I'm not sure that this is gonna win. Look, because if Sabile pits, if another caution comes out, right? Even if it's after 5 laps, there are 26 cars on the lead lap. He's gonna have to come from 26 to the front in less than 10 laps to try and win the championship. I get he's been fast, but you saw in that last restart, he was getting beat by guys, and he had pitted with everybody else. So Leighton is in trouble here, I think, no matter which way you set the table.
All right, well, we will take a moment to catch our breath here because I imagine we're going to be out of it here in the next 15 laps. The sun has set and we are 15, or what's going to be 15 laps away from deciding a champion when we get the green flag. Leighton Sabile is your race leader, but he is on 20 lap older tires than the rest of the field. Cabot and Heim on the outside, and then Chase Cabery on the inside of road number 3 has to find a way around both Anthony Alfredo and Leighton Sabile to try to get back in this championship fight. Pace car is off. Field works into the hands of the Tough Go Chevrolet on the bottom side. Green flag is out. Much better start than I would have expected out of Leighton Sabile. He's going to go high. Cabery's going to go low, and here comes Corey Heim up the middle.
Trouble, turn wide. Paget gets jumped by Presley Sora. Big crash in turn 1. Paget threw a big block on Sora. Sora said, I don't think so. And he flat out ran him over going into turn number 1. And 6-7 cars are littered in turn 1 as a result, as Leighton Sabile holds on to the lead in the mad dash to turn 2.
And Corey Heim, who threw it up the middle 3 wide at the last timing line when the caution was thrown, was ahead of both Chase Cabery and Adam Cabot as Cabot went way up the racetrack. So Corey Heim is now your championship leader.
And
well, no, he's
green. Wow,
he's behind Sabile, but yeah.
Look at the incident there with Presley Sora. There was a second incident as well. That's the 29 of James Bickford. You watch him swerving right in front of your screen. Here's a look from Sora. And Jacob, I think you said it perfectly. Sora tries to get a good jump. He looks for Paget going into turn 1. Paget tries to throw the block. It looks like Carl Edwards and Joey Logano back in 2016, and then he just flat out sends him into turn 1. And then up in front, Bickford got sideways and then got into Will Rogers and then packed up a couple of other drivers too.
That is a massive crash, and again, interesting decisions being made there with the championship on the line. Of course, everybody back there not really a factor in it. But that goes to show you these guys want those spots, even if they're not a part of it. But boy, does it have implications here. And I misspoke, of course. Corey Heim's the leader of everybody on fresh tires, I guess. I mean, technically, Sabile is still your leader.
Right.
But honestly, I think that's worst case scenario for Sabile. You would have rather that gone green for about 10 or 15 laps and then you pit? Not I mean...
It's a teammate. It's a teammate behind you. Now, whether or not Corey abides by that, I don't know. Because remember, Sabile said, you know, I'm going to still race him hard. And that if I can't get there, I want to ensure that Corey Heim can get the championship. Now, some people may rule that as problematic based off of what Heim did last week. But we'll see how this works here because they're both going to be lined up on the bottom of the racetrack on this restart.
sorry, I was hitting the wrong button there. So the rest of the field, you can see many of them coming off of pit road again. That was a huge crash, so a lot of drivers having to fix damage after that one. The lights are still on, and again, you have to think every single lap that Sabile gets under caution. I mean, with the situation he's in, I don't know, I guess you want as many heat cycles on these tires as possible. I can't believe he got as good of a jump as he did. I thought he was going to come out, he was going to spin the tires, he was barely going to be hanging on, and Cabot was just going to blow by him by turn 1. Instead, Cabot did not get a good start. Heim got a spectacular start and flew right by him to where Heim is now in second in the championship battle.
I think it helps with the restart zone as well. You think about that little margin of the white lines, the Geico restart zone, where Sabile could smoothly hop on the gas pedal, not spin the rear tires, and be fine, have a decent lead before he gets to turn 1. Then he braces for impact, which he was about to do before they crashed into the first corner. And I reckon he might help Corey Heim on the countdown here by the time they go back to green. These guys obviously are most likely in communications with each other out of the Hog Tamer squad, so they're probably going to coordinate this restart, try to jump Anthony Alfredo and Adam Cabot, have a clear route ahead to first, and even if Sabile falls back to the field on old tires, that 51 is out front. And the 51 in clean air might just be a very dangerous driver considering how fast he's been in traffic all night long.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Kenneth. Man, oh man. 11 laps to go. It'll turn to 10. Of course, we have 3 attempts at green, white, checkered in the back pocket, should that be necessary. Hopefully it won't, but you see, you can even see on your screen there, a lot of cars damaged in that last accident. Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries has had its twists, it's had its turns. But I don't think even we could have predicted how crazy this race has been. And there's still 10 laps left to decide it. Leighton Sabile, your lone championship driver on the front row with Anthony Alfredo to his outside. Sabile trying to hold on older tires, and he's going to have to do it for the next 10 laps to call himself a Monday Night Racing champion. Pace car is off, and the field will work into the hands of number 25, and Barney the flagman. Green flag is out. Great jump for Sabile, a better one for Corey Heim as he is side by side already with Alfredo for second.
Oh, contact, up the hill goes Alfredo. Just got into the 51 there, coming off the corner. Now he almost makes contact with Cabery, coming back down to earth. It's Sabile, and it's Heim roaring away from the rest of the pack. Cabery looking for third. He's got it. Here comes Corey Heim for the championship lead.
And he's going to take the lead of the race and of the title fight as Leighton Sabile finally reeling on those old tires. They're going to go 3 wide behind them. Cabery through the middle, Alfredo on the bottom. Cabery going to have to get working quickly if he wants a chance to try to get back at Corey Heim. But Anthony Alfredo has other opinions about that.
He's going to hold up the 39, and guess what? The 17 has just thread the needle between the 25 and the 20. Caution flag is out. More trouble. Presley Sora involved.
Again. He got, this one's just ugly. He had nowhere to go this time. He's, all right, so he's back here. He's got, let's see, that's Brett Baldeck and Brandon Brown in front of him. And Baldeck comes up, Brown comes down, 98 nowhere to go. And he ping-pongs off the both of them and winds up in the inside wall. And that's going to be day ender there for Presley Sora.
Yeah, a lot of damage there for your defending series champion who didn't have an opportunity to try and defend that title tonight. Getting awfully aggressive back here again. This was, I think, a battle for 25th. At this juncture, so everybody fighting for spots. You can see Mark Rebillis, you can see off his vantage point, and boy, you did a pretty solid
Sabile's pitting. Sabile's pitting after all of that. It doesn't work, and now he's going to pit. He's going to get a restart with less than 5 to go, and he's going to restart 23rd. 23 cars on the lead lap. A couple of cars going to pit with him. Looks like 19th, as long as it's a 4-tire stop, is where he'll come out onto the pit lane here. So he's going to be starting on the bottom yet, on top of being behind everybody. 11 lap fresher tires. I don't know.
But those haven't been green flag laps, unfortunately.
Right.
It's one thing for it to be 11 laps when we're all under green. It's another thing to be 11 laps when we've pretty much been running around under caution. Now, I don't blame him again for doing this because, I mean, what else are you going to do at this point? You were running, what, he was in 6th. He had 3 championship competitors ahead of him. He was on old tires. He knew, again, I am not going to win this race if I stay out. So why not pit? Again, he's tried the alternate strategies all night. It just hasn't really panned out. But again, a lot of time left. This is Monday Night Racing. Again, this is why MNR is MNR, because nothing is ever as simple as we can just have a race where the fastest guy wins. You know? Although, there's a good argument to be made that Corey Heim has been the fastest driver tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Doubt, yeah. Him and Cabot, I think that the titans of this championship for 100%.
Eric Estep, man, a lot has been going on. How's it been from your vantage point?
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of just keep up with the chat. For the first time all night long, I think there has been real question about, who could win this race. Cabot now is 3rd on the racetrack of the Championship 4, and so it's led everyone to speculate. I think there's a lot of folks in the Corey Heim camp, and now that he's got the race lead, he's got that track position and control of the restart, I think that support is going to continue. But Sabile is a madman. Sabile, you idiot. That seems a little strong. I don't know about that. I agree. He didn't really have a choice at this point. But the chat is, they've been riding the highs and lows with Leighton Sabile tonight. I think Sabile is going to need a few more cautions, maybe a couple overtime attempts to get some of that track position back and have a shot. But, I mean, I guess you never know. It's mayhem over here on the YouTube side.
Well, it's mayhem on the track as well, so at least we're all enjoying it together. We'll see here. I believe we would get the 1 to go this time by from the pace car, and it would be Corey Heim, your leader. He does get lane choice of the top or the bottom. I imagine, like most leaders tonight, he would choose the bottom. Although, if I was in this position, I'd probably take the top here. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. I'd want the exit off of turn 2. But nevertheless, he'll take the bottom. Chase Cabery is in 3rd. Corey Heim, not Corey Heim. Adam Cabot will restart in the 4th position. So 5 laps. You're not thinking about tire saving. You're not thinking about anything. You just have to go at this point. And
Cabery needs to get a good enough restart here. If he can split them 3 wide, that'll blow this thing wide open too. Because then Cabot could be there just to pick up the pieces if they all take each other out in turn 1.
What are you willing to do for a championship? Remember, we saw it last season.
Yep.
I mean, think of the jump that Chase Cabery has to get right here. I mean, I know we say it a lot, but I mean, this kind of has... you can think of Carl Edwards back in 2016. We know what happened there, and Cabery's going to have to try and get the best restart. You can see how focused. I mean, he's not blinking right now coming up to this restart. 5 laps to go to settle the championship. Cabery going to try to roll up to the restart, and he times it perfect. A little contact made into the back of Corey Heim, but he is there, and he is under Anthony Alfredo.
Oh, no!
Alfredo gets loose. Alfredo spins, and he saves it. Cabery is out of it. Cabot escapes.
Oh, big wreck. Somebody just got space forced. Terrible wreck in turn 2, and I tell you what happened. Heim and Alfredo made contact, and that kicked Alfredo's car around. Big damage. Chase Cabery has a little bit of back-end damage overall. He's okay. The problem, he is stuck down the order in P12. But contact with the leaders that brings out the caution. And I don't know if this is quite on Anthony Alfredo, just trying to do what he can to make it and have a shot for the win. And if you watch Showhouse there as well, he tried to time it to push Cabery out in front, and he just didn't time it right, and the contact there just kicks that 33 sideways. and they almost have it saved. And then the 39 up the hill, he gets it by the 24, and then the 33 goes up and gets Preston Pardis. And that's what happened.
Oh, look at Bickford.
Yeah, that's what happened to Bickford. When I said Space Force, I mean Space Force. On my end, he went flying. I guess on the production side of things, he was wedged into the wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He gets a piece of Jordan Buster, and there it is.
Yeah, Bickford looked to be really slow. He maybe had a little bit of damage right there. He indeed did. He was well off the pace. But I think Cabot got clear for second, and indeed he did. So Cabot and Heim will have your front row. Cabery is back in the 12th position. You'd have to imagine that he might be out of it. And Leighton Sabile is 10th on the outside, but with fresher tires than everybody. Now, of course, green, white, checkered. Not sure how much that's going to help him at this point, but at least right now, it is a 2-horse pony show at the dog races right now between Corey Heim and Adam Cabot.
A setup for the ages, guys. 51 and 17, the 2 fastest cars who haven't seen each other on track, by the way. They've really never been near each other all night long, just because of the pit cycles and because of also how far Adam Cabot has been ahead of the field. Now this is really the moment where they are side by side, they're even with each other, and no outside forces separating the two. It's now just mano-a-mano, a straight up duel, and a green, white, checkered, our first attempt at it.
By the way, we're talking about the origin of that penalty for this week from Corey Heim. Guess who's lining up right behind Corey Heim?
David Schildhouse.
Of course. And he's no slack when it comes to championship races. I mean, Blake, you were part of that race on Wednesday. He went out and won himself a championship of his own. So he's riding in, I think, a little high coming off of that, feeling confident. And when we talked to him last week, he said he was going to try and do everything he could to get involved with the championship race and be a factor, whether it's in victory lane or somewhere else. And right now, the Core Season 5 champ sitting in P3. I wouldn't blame him here if he takes a shot at the 51. You know, it's a long 8 months until Season 7 comes around.
That is the case. Which, by the way, who won that Core Championship race? Just want to...
David Schildhouse, for those of you that didn't see. He was putting merch out.
No. I said who won the race, Jacob.
Yeah, you were, I believe you did, and I was at least kind enough to mention you winning that race coming to the line. But here's the thing, another lap, and Schildhouse would have blown by you like you were standing still because of the tire strat, but you won that race, second win of the year. You actually won here.
Yeah, sure enough did at Homestead-Miami right here. But, all right. Anyways, back to this race right here. 3 to go. This will be our first attempt. When we get the green flag, it'll change to 2 to go. And we are going into overtime. We are on lap 201. This is, I think, one of the longest races, mileage-wise, in Monday Night Racing history. And we are going to go a little bit past our scheduled distance tonight. Corey Heim and Adam Cabot. Those are the 2 cars that we are going to have our cameras zoomed in on for the remainder of this race. They are first and second on track, first and second in the battle for the championship. Leighton Sabile, though, is not out of it yet. That bright white and black number 25 is in 10th, still has a shot at it. And if you're Chase Cabery, you are in 11th, just behind Leighton Sabile. So, or actually he'll line up in the 12th spot officially on the outside row in row 6. Pace car is off. Champion to be crowned. Corey Heim on the bottom. Adam Cabot on the top side. Here we go to crown a Season 6 champion into the restart zone, and a great launch for Corey Heim. He'll get clear by 1, maybe 2 car lengths to turn 1.
And textbook jump by the 51. Now a battle for second. That may hold off Cabot a little longer. They're 3 wide in the middle of the top 5.
Oh, Cabot gets hit from Schildhouse. Contact off at turn 2. Cabot moves up the hill. Schildhouse to second.
That's championship, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see Cabot getting back. He's going to need a whale of a last lap here to get within Corey Heim. It's a big gap, half a second.
Interstate Batteries, 1 to go right here. One more lap left in Season 6. Corey Heim cleared by several car lengths into Turn 1. Cabot trying to make a desperation move on David Schildhouse, but off of Turn 2. Corey Heim is still setting sail. On lap number 2, Corey Heim was put at the back of the field for a penalty from last week. And at lap 203, he is going to be leading us home. Corey Heim, off of turn number 4 for the final time, is your Season 6 Monday Night Racing champion. Adam Cabot finishes second in the standings. Leighton Sabile in third. Chase Cabery finishes fourth. And when we had that caution with about 45 laps to go, we knew it would change everything. Adam Cabot looked to be in the driver's seat. But Corey Heim and the EPI Toyota looked to have other plans. And there they are, the teammates on the front straightaways. I'm sure Corey Heim is going to burn it down here.
Blake, the curse is lifted. You're pick 1.
I know, right? Last race. Finally. Man, what a drive from Heim, who again needed a break tonight. He had the speed. He had everything he needed tonight. He just needed one caution to put everything back to where he had a shot, and boy, did he get it. And he took full advantage of it. Adam Cabot, his bid for a second championship will have to wait until Season 7. And Leighton Sabile, his Cinderella story, his Cinderella run to the championship comes to an end. And Chase Cabery, who you could see say has likely had one of the best seasons, one of the most consistent seasons, unfortunately gets wrapped up there late and will finish in fourth. But the GridRival MNR Season 6 Championship is still rolling on here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. We will catch up with your Season 6 champion here in short order, but we will be right back with post-race coverage of the MNR Championship.
This is an Interstate Battery. More pros trust this than any other out there. Yeah, more pros. More. Even more pros. Keep going. Moss. Look, we're going to run out of time before we run out of pros who like Interstate. I mean, we'll run out of time before we even run out of left-handed pros who knit. These pros are everywhere, which means so is this battery. Right around the corner, up the street, everywhere. Interstate Batteries. Outrageously dependable.
frontstretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checker flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit frontstretch.com.
Visit our website at toughgoflooring.com.
Get the edge on your competition with P8 Performance Gummies. Formulated specifically for gamers and the esports industry, we packed our gummies with all the good stuff, including ingredients that are clinically proven to help tired eyes, improve reaction times, and help suppress computer vision syndrome. Take your focus and endurance to the next level and try P8 gummies today. Now available at procelerate.com. Plus, if you're mad about gaming, we're looking to partner with influencers just like you. Drop us a line at support at procelerate.com to see if you qualify to try our gummies for free. It's officially game on with all new P8 gummies.
Back with you here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Corey Heim is your Season 6 champion. David Schotthaus finishes in second, a non-championship competitor. Adam Cabot, his bid for a second championship will have to wait. He finishes in third. Bailey Turner fourth. Colin Fern in fifth. Leighton Sabile finishes third, but sixth overall here tonight. Seventh, Ryan Vargas, George Belfans Jr. Eighth, Robbie Lyons and Chase Cabery, your final championship competitor. Round out your top 10, Kenneth.
Max Kennan closes the season from Homestead-Miami in P11. Preston Partis P Money in the 42 ends up in 12th. Joey Padgett in the 83 is 13th. 14th will go to the 47 of Jordan Buster. And then to wrap up your top 15, Mark Urbillas, driver who started 37th on the grid, so a nice move up through the field for that Toyota Supra. 16th will go to Ford Martin. 17th will be Case Collenbach. 18th to Justin Malillo in his Traction.GG Ford. Gary Sexton and Nick Olson, the final two in the top 20.
21st belongs to Matt Stolnick tonight. DJ Cummings 22nd. Devin Henry 23rd. Henry on back, finishing a lap down. Brandon Brown 24th. Brett Baldick 25th. Connor Berry finishes 26th. Dakota Curtis 27th. Michael Massey 28th. Will Rogers finishes in the 29th position, and Anthony Alfredo, after getting involved in his incident, I believe he just parked the car, he finishes in 30th, 5 laps down.
31st was James Bickford. Ronnie Osmer 32nd. Steve Affont finished in 33rd tonight. 34th was Presley Sora. Alex LeBay 35th. Reed Wilson, Joshua Slate, and Stephen Ellis round out your 38-car field here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. As we catch up with one very happy driver, the 20-year-old out of Marietta, Georgia, is your Season 6 champion. And boy, Corey, did you have to do it the hard way tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, from pitting on the first lap, that was a huge penalty for me. But we made up I think 10 seconds. So at the end of the day, I feel like we were the best car. I mean, if we started on the pole like I qualified, I feel like I would have had, a 10-second lead, if not more, before that last caution came out. So just, did a lot of prep work, and, a really big thank you to Michael Conti, Tyler Payne at Race CPI, Elite Performance Industries, Leighton and Will and Monin, everyone at the Hog Tamers, just huge thank you to them. Man, just really, really fun race tonight. That combination was really fun. Kind of learned a lot throughout the week about how to race this, racetrack. And, typically I'm not very good at Homestead, but did some studying and paid off.
Oh, that it certainly did. But I know you have a lot to look forward to, even in the next couple of days. You get to go out to Daytona. You get to start your full-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season. You won that series last season, but just how much are you looking forward to going down to Daytona in a couple of days?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I mean, as soon as the race was over, my mind was on that, and it was honestly, leading up to this race, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. This is a fun league for me. I have a lot of fun, but that's, obviously the ultimate goal for me, and doing a lot of preparation for that race as well, and hopefully we can have the same result.
All right, Corey. Well, we'll be rooting for you again. Congratulations on winning the Season 6 championship in Monday Night Racing, joining a great list of champions. Congratulations. You definitely did earn it tonight.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is your Season 6 champion in Corey Heim, who does it in dramatic fashion late in the going. And, oh, man, did he have a fantastic drive this season. Unfortunately, the other end of that was Adam Cabot, guys.
Here with the 17 of Adam Cabot, finishes third on the racetrack, second in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries Championship. Here from Homestead-Miami, I think plain and simple, first of all, Adam, what are your thoughts right now?
Normally I'm one to take the high road and look at the positives. And the positives are, I think everyone who watched that race knows who deserved to be the champion. The negatives are, I apologize to Ford, Gary, Matt, everyone who pours their heart and soul into this league because they don't deserve it. But, fact of the matter is Corey Heim and his team decided to manipulate the race again after they manipulated it last week. So I told them this was going to happen. I think we all knew that caution was coming. I think we all knew who was going to cause it. And lo and behold, it happened. So, I was still looking forward to the challenge of holding Corey and all those guys off, even with the caution that we all knew Will Rogers was going to cause. But, unfortunately, just the timing of the caution got me because apparently we couldn't make it past turn 1 for whatever reason on that restart. So I went high to build a good run off the corner. And, literally Corey just got like a fender ahead of me when I was going to get the run off. And that's when the caution came out. So definitely unfortunate circumstances there. But, I'm holding my head high. I know I did everything I needed to do, leading the championship by 9 seconds. Can't thank Atlas Hair Products enough for sponsoring me, Connor Horn for being on the box, keeping me calm, keeping me updated on where everyone else is and running a perfect strategy. Bailey Turner, Gary Sexton, amazing teammates all season long. I'm sure. I hope Corey really can enjoy this championship. I doubt he'll be as satisfied as I was when I won mine fair and square, one up against David 2 years ago. So, I always say you got to control what you can control in racing, and I can't control what other people decide to do, and I can't control. I talked to Ford, and I understand his side of things from last week, and I put more blame on Corey and his team than I do the admins, but at some point something needs to be done. And I don't really know what else there is to say. It was did everything I needed to do and just didn't work out. So maybe we'll come back next season. We'll have to see.
Calm and collected, the mindset the entire race. You led the most laps here from Homestead-Miami, and we've been talking about that in the broadcast booth as well, how composed you were no matter the situation, whether it was green flag pit stops or even then those late race restarts. Did anything really change as that pivotal caution came out, or did you feel that composed nature still felt itself present in the final stage of the race?
Yeah, like I said, I was genuinely looking forward to the challenge because I wasn't surprised by it. Like I said, I knew it was coming. So yeah, I kind of just had a smirk on my face and was like, all right, fine, we'll go get it the hard way. And, unfortunately just didn't even have a chance because the rest of the field just decided that, battling for 30th was more important than whatever we had going on up front here. So, when you're restarting behind someone and you only got 2 laps to do something in a nighttime track with cool temps and dirty air and fresh tires, you can be the ghost of Dale Earnhardt. There's nothing you could do about that. So, I don't know. Did everything I needed to do. Just wasn't enough. So, that's all there is to it.
Now, a long break to October, the start of Season 7 for this series, and after Season 6, and even then, all the series since you made your rookie start in Season 3, all of them have been very consistent, very competitive, a lot of deep playoff runs as well. So what can you take away from here and all the past seasons prior to moving to Season 7 this fall?
It can take away that it doesn't really matter how consistent you are if, people are going to pull that kind of crap. But, like I said, all I can do is control what I can control and go out there and, lead by 9 seconds and just keep going at it. And if people want to win that way, that's their choice. And, that was Corey's choice. So,
Well, nonetheless, Adam, on behalf of our entire broadcast team, want to congratulate you on the very amazing season you put up together to Homestead-Miami Speedway, from Drop of the Green at Talladega to here in South Florida. We appreciate the time, Adam, and as always, best of luck moving forward.
Thanks, Kenneth. Appreciate it.
So that is Adam Cabot in the 17. Felt he deserved that title. Very consistent since the start of the race. Obviously, just short of the season 6 title. We'll turn it over to the driver who finishes 3rd in our championship 4. That is the 25 of Leighton Sabile. Eric Estep, you've got him.
Well, Leighton, you were the show. I think, especially the final restart or two coming through the field, getting all the way back up to 6th. But starting out at the beginning, you were clearly on a different schedule than most of the other front runners, adding an extra stop until the caution with like 38, 39 laps to go. But tell us what went into that initial kind of varied strategy.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words there, Eric. Man, when we started out the race, I honestly just plain and simple just overdrove my stuff and burnt up my tires, and really thought as I was running side by side with Anthony there at the beginning stages of the race that I was just riding, and didn't take into account, I guess, how much more the top side had wore those tires down. It was a shame because, you know, the top side, you could be fast and you could be fun. I mean, it was fun to race up there, but you know, unfortunately, just dug myself in such a huge hole. I mean, I went from the lead down to 17th, and from there, I said, you know, the only way that I'm gonna even have a remote shot at winning this thing would be if I do everything the opposite of what the leaders do and just hope for the best. I mean, it ended up working out there for the most part. Unfortunately, we weren't able to walk away with the championship, but you know, we put ourselves in a decent position, and I feel like had we have had a couple more restarts, we would have been closer, and who knows, maybe the tires would have helped, maybe they wouldn't have, I don't know. But regardless, it was a fun night, and I'm just thankful to be here. It was a lot of fun, and I hope everyone had fun watching.
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for the folks I saw in the live YouTube chat. And I think they got a huge kick out of seeing you on those final couple of restarts. And then you kind of touched on it, but can you elaborate a little more? What more did you need on those final restarts? Because the first one, when you stayed out, it looked like you got a really good launch. There was a wreck behind you, but you know, then you had to come back down and pit, take your last set. But what more could you have done, if anything else? Did you just need more time?
More time and more track position really is what it came down to. Like you said, you know, on that, once we got that caution and it bunched everyone up, I thought I was going to have a decent shot because I had some pretty good short run speed at the beginning of the race, but man, you just run out of room, unfortunately. I just kind of got boxed in and wasn't really able to do anything. And I felt like, you know, obviously I had wore my tires down. And it was going to be a tough uphill battle, but again, I figured, you know, what do I have to lose, right? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to run 4th if I don't. So I figured if I stayed out there, try to get some early launches on the restarts and just clear someone off too, I might have a shot, and hopefully, you know, we would keep getting those cautions, but it worked out for one of them, but then unfortunately not. And then, you know, when we got to racing, I knew that my tires were shot. So once I saw those other Championship 4 guys, I just kind of wanted to let them race it out. And it honestly, had we have had some more restarts there, I felt like I maybe could have been able to pass a couple more cars on the restart. But man, everyone up at the front is just so good, and it's hard to. It's hard to stay competitive when you have such a competitive field. I mean, hats off to Adam Cabot and to Chase Cabery and to Corey and really everyone else that was running up front all race. Like, I honestly had no shot at it, so I figured, what the heck, I might as well give it a shot. So it was fun, and I'm glad that we made it here, and I had a really fun series or season to come back here. So I'm glad that we got to do it, and I'm looking forward to I guess when we restart in October. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely got a few months to think about it, to get prepared. But on behalf of the chat watching, thank you for giving us something to talk about for the first 170, 160 laps of this race. And congratulations on a championship 4 appearance and a great season, Leighton. Thanks for being on the post race.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Again, thanks to everyone at Toughco Flooring for their support of myself and of the league, and to Ford Martin and everyone who helps put this show on. I mean, I can't wait to go back and kind of watch those last few restarts there. There was a bunch of fun, and I hope everyone else had fun. And like I said, here we go. We got a long time till our next race in the next season, but I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys.
Awesome stuff. Leighton Sabile, 6th on track tonight, 3rd in the championship. I believe I'll go and turn things back over to you, Blake. I'm not sure who we have on deck, but yeah, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric. I'm still trying to figure out who exactly we're going to bring in at this juncture, and
I think it's David Schildhouse, who's second on the racetrack, but number 1 in our hearts. David Schildhouse. A lot of people are mad. Accusations are flying all over the place. Let's start with the last 2 laps, if we can, and that restart. You had a front row seat to it.
I had a front row seat to a lot of stuff tonight, Jacob. But yeah, the last restart, I didn't feel very confident about my chances. We had a lot of damage. I had picked up some damage along the way throughout this race that really knocked a lot of the performance out of the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Chevy Camaro, which is unfortunate because I feel like I was pretty quick tonight. Pretty quick. Maybe fast enough to compete with Adam Cabot during the long green flag run. I don't know. He was really, really good tonight. He was pretty perfect, but I just had to do something. I mean, I wasn't just going to roll over and die. Like, I had to try something, but I wasn't going to pull any craziness on the championship guys. Yeah, could I have let Cabot go and let him fight it out with Corey? Sure, I could have, but I'm here to win races, and that's what I tried to do. I'm not really sure anyone had anything for Corey. He was pretty fast, pretty motivated, and made a hell of a recovery tonight. A lot of action out there at Homestead. A lot of action.
Definitely a lot of something. Now, I understand you weren't part of the championship 4 here. You didn't get a shot at the trophy, but I know that, or at least I understand that there's another trophy nearby that means something to you. There it is. Okay, well,
I didn't win the championship in Monday Night Racing, but I did win this course Season 5 championship last week. I got this cool trophy right here, so that feels pretty good. No Monday Night Racing trophy, though, and that feels bad, but they knew the 20 car was here all season long. I'm really proud of everything that I put together in this league. This has been a great ride, man, and Monday Night Racing has done a lot for me, both in entertainment and professionally. So I'm very thankful for that, thankful for everybody that supported it. One of those trophies, man. Unfortunate.
Season 7, come back. One last dance?
Jacob, as I just told Adam Cabot, that is a long time away from now. We will see. That's all the way in October, man. That's when I turn the big 4-0 is in October. So I'm going to have plenty on my plate by the time October and Season 7 rolls around. I'm not sure 40-year-old David Schildhouse has got the heart to put up with some of the stuff that we've seen here in Monday Night Racing, the stress that comes with it from time to time. But I know competitive 40-year-old David Schildhouse is probably going to want to come out here and stomp these kids' asses into the ground one more time. So we'll see. But a big shout-out again to everybody at Heartbeat Hot Sauce, Alpha Prime Racing, and the children. Everyone at twitch.tv/Schildhouse all season long cheering me on. The best damn fans out there. So it's all thanks to them, and thanks to you guys for putting this thing on. Enjoy your break, Jacob. You've deserved it.
I'll try my best. Simultaneously, the best and worst interview I think I've ever done. David Schildhouse, P2 tonight. Thanks for your time and congratulations on the season. Blake, save me.
Well, it's been a long season for all of us, Jacob. But yes, David Schildhouse definitely knew that he was out there, and it's a pretty good looking trophy that he was showing us a couple of moments ago. Again, still a lot to discuss here on our post-race coverage. But I think overall here, guys, the one theme of tonight is I think persistence would probably be one, especially for Corey Heim, who at least came from the back of the field trying to hang on as much as he could.
Yeah, a lot of resilience out of Corey Heim. Obviously, the heartbreak for Cabot, who, in many's eyes, did everything right. It did everything that he could, and to perfection. And unfortunately, it didn't go his way. Just with that pivotal caution that came out late in the going. I mean, Leighton Sabile, you got to hand it to him. The strategy he pulled off all night long, not many would have the gall to do it, and Sabile did it. Being a underdog, considered by many as an underdog in the championship four. Chase Cabery being consistent and fast all night long. It was a very good championship four caliber roster to put together, and to have it all go down in the last segment of the race. Obviously not the way everybody wanted it to go, but I think we still have a deserving champion, a very fast one in that. Corey Heim adds his name to the MNR title holder list.
That he does, and we are going to bring in Ford Martin and Matt Stolnick to talk briefly with Jacob Hitz. Jacob?
I believe it is time for the traditional end-of-season state of our Monday Night Racing message, perhaps with the two league admins, Ford Martin and Matt Stolnick. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, first of all, thank you, Jake. Thank you, Blake, Eric, Kenneth, everybody with Ryan Bauer, Cameron, everybody that's associated with Podium Esports. We can't thank them enough. Obviously, this has been a great season. Everyone's really pitched in, and I know we all got a lot of things going on, especially this time of the year at the 500 coming up. But we can't thank you guys at Podium Esports, but we can't thank our sponsors, everybody involved with us, Next Level Racing, Interstate Batteries, Roasted Gems Coffee, GridRival for coming on for today's race. We appreciate them for coming on. I know we had DW come on here in the Watch Party broadcast. Just everybody really involved. Interstate Batteries being the title sponsor this year, we can't thank them enough. They've done great work, and it's just we're really thankful to be associated with a lot of great partners. I want to thank iRacing for letting us be on their main Twitch channel tonight. We greatly appreciate that. I know they're starting their season tomorrow night, so it's just tonight was a great race. Unfortunate about some of the cautions there at the very end, but overall it was a great race tonight, and we're really happy about the steps we've taken forward. I know we made a change as far as the fast repair and removed that at the start of the playoffs. I felt like that was a step in the right direction to improve our racing. But like I said, it's a great race. It was a good race tonight. It's been a great season. We're happy for Corey for getting his first career championship. So it's something. And obviously the people here behind the scenes, Dakota, Paul, Josh Mendoza, Matt Stolnick here with me. Gary Sexton, who's done a lot of work at Podium. Just everybody involved. There's so many people we can go on and on, thank people, and I don't want to draw this out, but there's so many people we have to thank that makes this league possible. And it's been a great season.
Yeah, I think Ford said it perfectly. I don't think a lot of folks realize just the amount of work that goes into this whole production, and Jacob, that extends out to your team on the broadcast side and all the way down just to our admin team and everybody. It's definitely an effort, and I like to think of Monday Night Racing as a bit of an experiment that we're continuing to run out now from season to season. And I think when I look at this particular season, we've learned a lot, and you've seen that I think we evolved more as a league this year than in the previous 5 seasons combined. Just from the perspective of figuring out a lot of things on the race control side, which we're still learning. We're still trying to get a lot better on that front. And just figuring out ways to get the competition cleaner, less cautions. We've seen a lot of evolution on that front, and we're seeing stronger interest, in Monday Night Racing, whether it be from sponsors or just fans. More folks reaching out, wanting to know more about it, and that's amazing. And I think that for that reason, you're going to see us take a longer break over the summer so that we can really do season 7 right in the winter and do a longer season 7 in the winter. And we're also using that time in the summer to try something a little bit different. And I don't think this has kind of been announced formally, and we'll have some more details to share on this. But instead of committing resources that we would normally commit to a summer season Like Ford has mentioned previously, and I just did. Season 7 is going to be a winter season, and we're going to have a slate of large-scale community events. Think in terms of like Podium 500, Carnomaly 500, e-racer type style events. We're gonna be committing to doing a number of those types of events with some of our resources that we have in place for the summer, and we're really excited about that. And that's going to be a different challenge, and it's going to be engaging the community and trying to expand our reach and hopefully move the needle for sim racing. And at the end of the day, like I said, this is in some ways a grand experiment for ways that we can kind of grow sim racing and kind of grow the pie on iRacing. And I think we've been very successful up to this point. We have a lot to learn and a long way to go. But I think the star is bright for this series, and the reason is because of the people involved, whether that be from Ford's leadership or Gary's leadership on the podium side. So just encourage everyone to keep investing in us. Keep investing your time. We really appreciate it. It's a labor of love for the community, and we're going to keep it going. And we're going to be stronger than ever here coming up. Short break, and then we'll get to our big events slate this summer, and we're very excited to make that happen. So much more to come from the world of Monday Night Racing right around the corner.
I do want to interject here one time, real quick thing, Jacob. Obviously, I know there will be some questions about the end of the race here. Obviously, with the caution that did come out at the end of the long green flag stretch we did have, we are MNR management is aware of it. We're going to thoroughly look into it. We're going to investigate it, and we're going to do this right. And there'll be more updates later on. But nothing to report right now, but just something that we are aware of it and something that we will look into.
I'll put the journalism hat on for just a second. Does that open a window, close a window as far as a potential change as a champion?
No, we do not foresee any changes as far as a champion, no.
Okay. All I needed to hear. Ford Martin, Matt Stolnick, the two men in charge of Monday Night Racing. Season 6, job well done. Season 7 on the horizon, but pretty far enough away. Blake McCandless.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks,
and actually, why don't we take a look at that schedule really quick, if we do have it up, to look at what is going to happen here in Season 7. Now, as you mentioned, you could see the length of time. It's quite a lengthy break. October 2nd. I mean, we're looking at roughly 9 months or so, or just shy of it. No, well, I can't do math. It's been a long evening. Almost 10 months until we get back going with the next gens at Daytona. But the one thing I see here, Eric, a lot of 18 races, so a pretty lengthy season coming up in the winter of 2023.
Yeah, I like it. And as is typical with Monday Night Racing, a ton of diversity, short track, super speedways, road courses, NASCAR cars, non-NASCAR cars, you name it. The schedule looks great. And I like the extended regular season, especially. I think that's really going to allow for more drivers to have a chance to qualify. I think you're really going to see the best of the best when it gets down to those playoffs in January. So I think this is great. And listening to what Ford and Matt were saying right there, taking these extra months of the off season to kind of prepare and make sure that Season 7 is the biggest and best Monday Night Racing has ever had. I can't wait. I'm stoked to be watching out for it here in October.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's just going to about do it. We have had one heck of a ride up to this point, and I think it's time to take a step back, take a break, and we'll be back and ready to go here for Season 7. So for Ford Martin and Paul Sutton at Monday Night Racing, Josh Mendoza in Race Control, Gary Sexton and John Theodore at Podium Esports, for our camera builder Dougie Beard, our overlay builder Michael Hall, Cameron Almanon working social medias for us tonight, and for tonight's broadcast crew, producer Ryan Bauer, and my colleagues in the broadcast booth, Kenneth Bueno, Jacob Hitz, and Eric Eastep. I'm Blake McCandless saying so long tonight from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. We bid you farewell, and congratulations to tonight's Monday Night Racing champion, Corey Heim.
Oh, we're on. And for the last time for 8 months, welcome guys to the FrontStretch.com post-race show. I am Brandon Hoff. That is Michael Massey. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, we might as well make the last one for a while the most talked about one, and I think for many reasons. I mean, where do we start? I mean, Corey won the race. He won the championship. Controversy involved, but I mean, we had 160 laps of clean and green, and then I guess we could say chaos ensued.
Yeah, and Corey Heim started the race. He had to serve a pass-through penalty on lap 2, and really worked his way up to, it was 160 laps, green flag to start the race, and I believe he was like 7th when that caution came out, when the first caution finally came out. That was just, I mean, he came back from like half a lap down to do that. That's
impressive. Yeah,
it was quite the performance. But some shady stuff happened to get him back into it. I don't know what exactly happened, but I know there's some people you guys heard in this broadcast. Adam Cabot is not too happy. I believe he might have said it was rigged or something. Or Brandon, do you remember when they handed us, like with the NFL, they handed us the script for the season or how this is gonna play out?
Yeah, I got the script this morning, and I don't know if we exactly had it playing out this way.
Yeah, right. There's no script.
No.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. It started out as like a clean race.
Mm-hmm.
I was bored driving. Me and the people in my Discord were having like long conversations, thought out conversations. But then the end of it was just complete chaos, right? It was. But at the end of the day, Corey Heim, Adam Cabot might have gotten robbed, but Corey Heim did put together quite the performance to win the championship.
Yeah, and in a way, I mean, at the end there, it was a dogfight, between at least the three, between Corey, Adam, and Chase. Leighton was there, but his strategy kind of threw him off. So, he was off strategy and having to stay out on those old tires on that one restart, and he held the lead for that one big wreck into one. And then, he pit when he fell back to like 6th or 7th. And, somebody said it. He was 10th on that. I think he was 10th on the last restart. If he had one more green, white, checkered, he might have had an outside shot because of his tires. But listen, that wreck between Anthony and Chase, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. Because I looked at the replay. I dissected it. I saw it. I can't tell really what Anthony was doing. I don't know if he was trying to get in line behind Corey, if he was trying to pinch down Chase, or even pinch on Corey's quarter panel, or what he was doing. But either way, that obviously ruined Chase's chances. Kind of gave the advantage to Corey because Cabot was still there, but Chase was right on his bumper, and who knows, if it stayed green, it was all clean. One never knows, but that was a crazy sequence.
And Chase is so Chase Cabery's a really nice guy and a funny guy. I actually talked to him at the Clash, saw him at the Clash, talked to him for a little bit. Super friendly, and after that incident, he was just a ball of rage, and I've never heard him that angry. So it meant a lot to him to get crashed. Get a championship hope taken away from him. So yeah, he might have said some things not too kindly about Mr. Anthony Alfredo.
Fair to say.
I won't repeat anything that was said, but just know that could be a rivalry down the road to keep an eye on. Another one to keep an eye on is the continued rivalry that's kind of was going on all season long of Colin Fern and defending champ Presley Sora, who hands off the title now to Corey Heim.
Yeah.
There's some fireworks there as well, Brandon.
We got fireworks all over the place, it's crazy. And we were saying off camera how, we said it here that, we saw 160 laps of clean and green and boring, if you want to call it. But, if you wanted any action to make up for those 160 laps in the last 35, 40, you got it. And, anybody who was watching the race in the sim and heard all the chatter that was going on, all the insults, all the rage, the admins trying to quiet everybody down. And I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was chaotic. I don't know if it was fun. It was kind of funny to watch just because of how it just went downhill so fast. It was a fun race, but it just went downhill. Like,
the funny thing to me was that, not being involved in these scandals and stuff, it was hilarious to me. I'm just sitting back laughing. And somebody told me, like, I think it was Brett Baldack, was like, "You got the cleanest car out. You're like the only car out here without a scratch on it," which I did rub the wall a few times. My race, I tried to get a different. I used the tires up too fast on that first run, and tried to short pit and maybe catch a caution or something, and it caught me a lap down, really. But I think I had the cleanest car until I crossed the finish line and was trying to hit Devin Henry after I crossed the finish line, just because he's my buddy, and missed him, hit the wall, and then Brandon Brown hit me, and somehow like my car hooked on the light post, and it just if there's a way we could show that replay, man, after that 27 car crosses the line, but I'll post it anyways, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, I believe we have one of the guys that was caught up in fireworks here tonight. And after driving a long 200 lap race, he's gonna be on the road for another 17 hours. So
he's a warrior.
He is, for sure. So do we got Presley Sora?
There he is.
There he is.
What's up, guys? Oh man, we should ask you the same. What's up?
Yeah.
You had quite the race. Between you had the strategy there. I know you were on the long strategy there for a while with Nick and Colin. I don't know if it was working out, but you were maintaining your track position for a while. And then you got the caution, and then you kind of reset, and then you got that other caution with the certain car we won't mention, but we'll let you mention it. What took place there?
Yeah, well, with the long strategy, I think we would have actually finished pretty dang good with it. We were getting right back to where we were every single run. So I think the first green flag pit stop, we pitted in from 10th, like when the pit cycle started, and we were just running the fuel dry because last season we found that actually was faster long run, which I think it was tonight as well. So every single run we get right back to like 11th, 12th, somewhere in there, like just a position or two different. And our plan in the last run was we were just going to put right sides on it and get the track position and have fresher right side tires. So I think we would have probably finished somewhere, 8th to 13th probably, which is about where we were running. So I think it would have worked out fine. But yeah, we had the cautions at the end, which I was really pumped to see the first caution because that helped me even more, got me back caught up to everybody. And I think I could have gotten the top 5 or 10 there. I think it probably would have been too hard to pass for me to drive all the way up to the lead. And some of those guys were probably a good bit quicker than I was. So I don't think I could have gotten all the way up there. But yeah, just some dude just drove into me. I don't know who he is. I passed him a couple times this season. Beat him a lot of times this season. Some dude trying to make a name for himself, I think. But yeah, he caught me in the back bumper there going into 3 and spun me around. But not the first time he's done it this season. So what can you say? Some people are just like that. But yeah, that really turned the race around the wrong direction for me. Then the next restart, me and Padgett got together. I think it was kind of a racing deal, but not much I think either of us could have done in that. He turned down on me, after the green, and I held my ground. I think, he could have not turned down on me, and I could have given way. It's just one of those deals where nobody's given any room with 15 laps to go in the final race of the season. So, yeah, that's that's kind of how the race ended. It was fun up until that point, though. The car was fun to drive. I don't know how the racing was on the broadcast, but it was a blast to drive, in my opinion. I know, Michael, you were out there. I thought it was fun, but I know some guys didn't.
It was fun for sure, but I think it just got a little 160 laps straight green flag. I was wanting a caution when that caution finally did come out, and we were actually, I believe the way it cycled through, I just pitted for tires. I was looking under you when that caution came out, and then checked up. But it happened like right in front of us. Will Rogers spinning. Did that look like any kind of foul play from your vantage point? I know that's what Adam Cabot was saying. That's what some people are saying. Or did you think it was just? Have you seen that wreck at all?
I haven't seen it. I could just see what happened in front of us, and by that point, he was already kind of spinning into the wall. So I couldn't see what triggered it. But I know a few guys were talking about how they thought it was kind of weird. But I'm not going to complain about it because I mean, ultimately, it was helping me out. Didn't in the long run, but I was happy to see a caution. I thought I was going to be in it at one point too. He couldn't have been very far from my door because he was coming right back down the track as you and I were passing him, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's going to spin into my door." But yeah, it could have been foul play. I'd have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, because you and me were side by side, and I saw him coming down, so I just pulled to the apron to try to give you room. But luckily nothing bad happened. But you did after that incident with the person that you're not naming, who happens to have started a new NASCAR Xfinity Series team this week. If that gives it away for people, we've already talked about it. So people know who it is. But
everybody knows.
You were cutting a promo in the chat before before Josh Mendoza race control silenced you. And you're such a mild-mannered guy. We never see you really fired up like that. So, is that just say was your blood just boiling that much to get to a point where you're just going off that bad?
I wouldn't really say it was boiling. It takes a lot to get me mad, especially on iRacing. So I'm normally really laid back. And eventually you just get to a point where you just have to stand up for yourself when some dude's bullying a teenager. It's just, I don't really get it. I mean, there's been countless occasions this season where Colin has just, shown his displeasure over nothing. And my assumption is he's just butthurt that I just whooped him in the finale last season and beat him for the championship. And see here. I think he's mad that I got this thing sitting next to me. I don't think he likes that this sits in my room every day, and we brought it back to Cambridge City, Indiana. But that would just be my guess on it and why he's been so butthurt this season. But yeah, I mean, I just got to stick up for myself. He sent countless messages about how he was going to intent wreck me throughout the season and how he's going to make sure I didn't get back to the championship 4 and win another championship. And then, by God, did he do it at Pocono? He hooked a right down the straightaway, which, I don't know, I got my wheel right here, and when I hold the thing straight, typically the car goes straight. So, sometimes that's different for other people, and it was different for him at Pocono because his sure turned right down the straightaway. But that really, really hurt my chance to win the championship this season because it was about a 20-point swing. I was like plus 7 or 8 in that race where I was going to finish because I was going to finish top 10. I think I was going to finish 7th or 6th or something like that. But I was going to be going into Chicagoland with a pretty good points cushion. And 2 laps to go, he decided to intent wreck me there. And then he was just acting stupid at Chicagoland too. And I told him what I thought of that in the group chat because just the stupid way he races. Like I said, I think he's just butthurt that a teenager's beating him so consistently. But then tonight he just drove through me. So, and I mean, we had raced earlier on in the race, like the first 5 or 6 laps, and we were clean. I wasn't putting it on his door or anything. And then the second he gets behind me, he just turned me. So didn't even give me a chance to to race with him. I mean, I had great battles with people all night long. I mean, like Bailey Turner and I, just so many people. We were having fun just crossing each other up and throwing sliders on each other, and just, I'd run the fence, they'd run the bottom, I'd cut down under them, and we'd reverse it for the next corner. But Colin doesn't do that because he has no racecraft, so he just kind of just drives through people when he gets behind them. But hey, what can you do? That's not how I like to race. I like to just race and have fun, and I race people how they race me. So I try to race everybody, the same and clean. But that's not how he plays. His ego's too big for that one.
Jeez. Major shade, major flexing going on. We like it here.
Yeah.
Presley, talk about, so you guys have 8 months off now until the next race, October 2nd. Long time, basically the whole race season. What are the plans for you coming up? I know you got some good stuff going on, both on iRacing and real life. I know you've mentioned it. Yeah. Talk about what you're going to be doing here the next 8 months until we start up again here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I can't get too butthurt about iRacing like he does, because I got I'm racing a late model this year, so I got that to look forward to. So, I'll be running an asphalt CRA Sportsman late model for Blaster Motorsports, and gosh, I'm so excited. The car's like basically done. Basically, all we have to do with it is wrap it. So, I'm riding down with Brayton Blaster to Daytona this week, and him and I are good buddies, so I'm excited to be driving his car. It's gonna be a blast. I can't wait. I've worked so hard, like my entire life, to drive a race car, and I finally get to do it this year, and actually race it. Like I tested a few cars last year, but testing it's completely different to racing, and I want to race. And most people know this, but my goal is to be a professional race car driver. So iRacing stuff's great, but I'm looking beyond that to where I'm actually in the top 3 levels of NASCAR one of these days, or IndyCar or anything. I'll drive. If you give me a car or anything, I always tell people this: 3 tires and above. I won't do MotoGP, but I'll run NASCAR, I'll run IndyCar, I'll run a semi, I'll race a golf cart. I'll race anything. I just like to race. So I'm just pumped. I'm gonna get to run his asphalt late model and his dirt late model this year. So I'm just super excited. Should be, I think, about 15 to 30 races, give or take a few. So I'm really pumped up. We're looking at like Anderson, Winchester, Salem, and a bunch of really cool tracks. I'm pumped up about it. I can't wait.
That's awesome. All those tracks I'd love to see. I've never even been to them, so I know they're just iconic tracks. So that's really cool. You get to fulfill the dream and race at them. Brandon, I was just thinking how funny it would be if someday Presley ends up driving for a certain race team in the Xfinity series. A certain new team, FRS Racing.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The way, I mean, Kyle Busch is driving for Richard Childress now after Richard Childress.
I mean,
it's so crazy.
It took 11, 12 years. So, Presley, when you're 30 years old, I mean, who knows? Something could happen.
Yeah, you never know. I've heard crazier stories. And I mean, outside of MNR, I really do like Colin. Like, we hung out at North Wilkesboro. He's a good dude. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met. But God, on iRacing, he's just a tool, man. And sometimes you have to tell him that he's a tool before he'll understand that he's a tool. So you got to give him a taste of his own medicine from time to time.
I think he understands it and he embraces it almost. But
he does. 100%. I think everybody knows that too. I mean, you see what he does. Like if he didn't know what his role was, I guess if you want to say as the villain or whatever, like he embraces it 100%.
Yeah, but most of the time the villain wins a race. I mean, come on, now, Colin.
I mean, listen, if it's a movie, the villain doesn't always win. The villain usually loses if it's a movie. If it's a race, the villain is always, in a race, the villain usually winds up on top. But if it's
you got a point.
I don't think I'm going to call MNR a movie. It's a racing series, but
feels like it sometimes.
I mean, tonight felt like more of a movie than a race at the end there. That was like Final Destination, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially if you
We
see
run
the
160 laps like perfectly clean, and then the last 30, it's just like, it's like a demo derby.
That's when somebody had a vision, and then they were like, "Yeah, this is gonna happen. You guys got to either clear off the track or something, or we're gonna wreck like 30 cars, like what we did."
Yeah, look, I had that vision, and then I pulled down and let off the gas. It was my vision. But and on the subject of Colin, I just want to give a quick plug. He's the guest on the Front Stretch podcast with Brian Nolan this week, so catch him on there to talk about his new team. But Presley, we thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to race with you these past 2 seasons. I'd love to get out to one of your actual races one of these days and see you race in person. That'll be on my list to do at some point. But yeah, safe travels to Daytona. We wish you the best down there. Have fun.
Thank you. Yeah, once we get closer to race time, I'll post my schedule and stuff on all my socials. And yeah, I'm pumped for Daytona. I've never been to the 500. I've never seen a race at Daytona. I never even seen a race car on track at Daytona until a few weeks ago for the ARCA test. So I'm pumped up. I'll be in the pits all week. So if anybody's watching, comes down there, I'll be in the Mullins Racing pits. So you'll see me. I'll probably be recording stuff just because I love to watch race cars and record them. So yeah, if you see me, come say hey.
It's awesome, man.
All right, that's Presley Sora, and he needs to go to get in the car with the Laster family and ride on down. All right.
18 hours is what he told us. Oh man, I don't know if I could do it.
That's one of those trips you'll look back on like, that was a cool weekend.
Yeah.
I'm envious of him. That's a cool opportunity he's got to he's helping his buddy out with the ARCA team, and then he's driving for him, in the late models or dirt and asphalt. Yeah. So that's cool. It's a guy he's just a sim racer, man. He's just a sim racer, and now he's getting opportunities from it.
And that's a lot of people. I mean, look at all the people that start in the sim these days. I mean, heck, we can go back to William Byron. Look where William Byron is. Raja started on iRacing, and now he got into legend cars, late models, and then part-time Xfinity. Now he's running full-time trucks, and he's got a good opportunity. So you never know where you can end up. And Presley's still young. Presley's 18, 19 years old, so he's got a good shot ahead of him. I'm excited for him. He's a good kid. A lot of talent on iRacing. I know he's gonna knock it out of the park in real life. I'm looking forward to it. I know, and speaking of looking forward to it, I know a lot of these guys, maybe yourself included, Mike, you're probably looking forward to these 8 months off from the league just a little bit so you can focus on the real life stuff and what we do here at Front Stretch and all that. Kind of taking care of the NASCAR side of stuff. Got a lot going on, so.
You guys didn't see me here last week because I was at the Clash.
Yeah.
And, so it's good. That's the thing. It's a league built around people in the NASCAR industry. So once the season's in full swing, it's kind of hard for us to be around every Monday night to races. So I give kudos to Ford and Matt for giving us this break. And then it's the kind of thing where you need to have not too much of something because you need to leave people wanting more. Like showmanship, circus kind of motto, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're taking some time off so that people will miss MNR. They'll want it back in their lives. And real quick before we wrap, I do want to give a shout out to Jared Haas, who filled in last week and designed a killer Celsius energy drink paint scheme for tonight. Brett Baldeck said it was the best looking car in the field, so I'll take his word for it.
Hey, that was a nice scheme, I liked it. But until next season, 8 months from now, October 2nd, we will be back. Stay tuned on frontstretch.com. We got a lot that we're doing between the podcast, articles, columns, everything we're doing over at the site. We're going to be a busy group here during the season. It all starts this week. Actually, tomorrow, I will plug myself here for esports. Tomorrow is the season opener for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Stay tuned. That'll be on, I believe, 9 o'clock. iRacing's Twitch, YouTube. You can find them. I'll be tuning in. You guys want to tune in there? We'll be doing some stuff on frontstretch.com with that throughout the season. But yeah, for Brandon Hoff and Michael Massey, we will see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in all season. Hope you enjoyed.